Chapter 549. God, why did she embarrass herself in front of Jiang Zhao again? She even called Yi Er to apologize on the night of the wedding. Actually, she was afraid that Jiang Zhao would think that she was shameless. Great, now he was watching the show again. Yi Er was holding the phone with her head lowered and leaning against the back of the front seat. She smiled sweetly as she waited for her husband to reply to her message. She glanced at her phone several times, but there was no message. She thought that her husband was too busy at work and mistakenly thought that the message was not sent successfully. She looked at the record and saw that it was sent successfully. The car door was pulled open and Yi Er jumped in shock. The tissue paper that was covering her head fell to the ground. She was completely unaware. She turned her head and saw Jiang Zhao holding the phone. His hand was gripping the phone so tightly that his knuckles were white. She sat by the door and looked up at the man's face. His thin lips were tightly pursed into a line. His neat short hair made him look energetic. His bright eyes were burning with anger. He looked like he was about to explode. Then she looked at the man's eyes. Anger, surprise, and finally, she frowned and panicked. Yi Er knew that she was wrong. She was completely wrong. This was the consequence of disobeying her superior. Her husband had clearly ordered her to do so, but she had disobeyed him. This was unforgivable. Her eyes were averted and her eyelashes fluttered. She did not dare to look into Jiang Zhao's eyes. She gently squeezed out a sound from her nose. Then she tugged the corner of her mouth and wanted to give him a smile. However, when she saw that he looked at her with disgust, her smile became ugly and she did not know whether to laugh or cry. Hubby, I was wrong. I shouldn't have disobeyed you. I clearly promised you, but I secretly went back on my word. Jiang Zhao's lips were straight. When he exhaled, his voice was hoarse. Yun Yi. You're asking for a beating. Yi Er raised her head again in a panic, looking at Jiang Zhao with fear in her eyes. Was this challenging his authority again? Why was she living such a coward? Yun Yi, you coward. She stretched her neck and stuck it there. When she looked up, she was furious. Jiang Zhao. Are you done? I have friends too. I have the right to make friends. My friends are here. Can't you give me some face? If you want to be angry, can't you talk about it when we get home? Even if I don't listen to you, can't you leave me some leeway outside for the sake of our relationship as husband and wife for the rest of our lives? When have I ever been rude to you? Every single time, I've been bothering you. Yi Er felt that she was good at pleasing people, but she was not as good at quarreling as Xia Qian. Sometimes, she was envious of Xia Qian for having an older sister like Xiaoya. Just because her younger sister said that she wanted to experience life, Xiaoya would take her to a nightclub to find gigolos. Her younger sister had provoked a rich young master outside. She had provoked him to her heart's content. She had provoked him to the point where she was about to be put on the spot. An older sister had stood up and said, "Young Master Fei Yan, are you trying to hit a woman?" She wanted to help her out. His nose and eyes responded. She deserved it. She was still a child at 17, but she had to be a father and a mother. Now that she was married, she had to live her life carefully. How could she be such a coward? Jiang Zhao's chest started to rise and fall violently. You're still in the right. Yun Yi, are you still in the right? He bent over and extended his arm towards Yi Er. Yi Er saw Jiang Zhao's outstretched arm and instinctively resisted. She slapped it away and retreated, complaining, Jiang Zhao. I'm not going with you. If I go with you today, I'm a coward. Let me tell you, if you embarrass me like this in front of my friends, I won't live with you anymore. You're too much. Jiang Zhao didn't care about that. He was tall. Even Yi felt uncomfortable sitting in the car, let alone someone of his height. He stuck his head into the car and grabbed the car door frame with one hand and reached out to grab Yi with the other. The girl still tried to avoid him. She knelt on the seat and grabbed Yi's hand to drag her out. Yi saw that Jiang Zhao didn't answer her at all, and his face was full of anger. Ever since the two of them got together, she rarely saw that bronze-masked face. Sometimes, she even forgot how he looked like when she went to the Qin palace to threaten him back then. Now that she thought about it, it was like that again. This man was like a top-notch ancient sword. He still had those exquisite patterns, he still had such a noble origin, and he still had such a high value. Now that the sword was out of its scabbard, he wanted to kill her. Because she saw the anger in his eyes growing stronger and stronger. Yi was angry and scared. At this time, Xia Qian was also frightened. Oh no, is Jiang Zhao angry? It's fine if I cause trouble, but what if I implicate Yi? She glanced at Qin Fian. Qin Fian frowned and asked softly, "Why is my sister-in-law in your car?" "Hey, don't talk about it. They're about to fight now. Why do you care about that?" Qin Fian scolded Xia Qian. "It's all your fault, you troublemaker. F***ck. Xia Qian really wanted to fight with Qin Fian again, but now wasn't the time to settle personal grudges. She walked behind Jiang Zhao and patted his shoulder lightly. "Brother Zhao," Qin Fian almost vomited. This woman made of cement was actually so polite. Xia Qian was about to shout again, but Jiang Zhao had already backed out of the car. When he looked at her, his eyes not only saw her, but also saw someone holding a knife, ready to chop her up. His gaze was frightening. She was so scared that she took a step back and shouted softly again, "Brother Zhao, Yi er," she stuttered. Xia Qian. Jiang Zhao didn't care about his image anymore. He reached out and clamped down on Xia Qian's shoulder. He gritted his teeth. "Xia Qian. Don't think that just because you have Xiaoyu protecting you, you can cause trouble all day long." Xia Qian gulped. "Men can't be like this, right? Can you be fierce to women just because you're handsome?" She scolded herself in her heart. "Xia Qian, oh Xia Qian, when will you change this habit of fantasizing about handsome men every time you see them?" I didn't do it on purpose." Jiang Zhao threw Xia Qian away. Xia Qian was pushed away and was caught by Qin Fian. Qin Fian let go of her in disgust. Xia Qian fell to the ground and cried out in pain. "Qin Fian, you stinky man who doesn't know how to be gentle with women. I curse you to have your anus burst." Qin Fian was not in the mood to care about her. Jiang Zhao got into the car again. This time, he used a lot of strength and dragged Yi out. The two of them looked like they were about to fight. Yi's face was covered in blood and she kept struggling. Jiang Zhao was furious. He tightened his arms and held the woman tightly against his chest. He lifted her up and carried her away. When Qin Fian and Xia Qian saw Yi's appearance, they were so shocked that they could not speak. Xia Qian was lying on the ground with her mouth agape. Yi shouted anxiously, "Jiang Zhao, you bastard, let go of me." Jiang Zhao's ashen face did not relax just because they were on the main road. However, this place was too remote, and there was still a distance before they could reach the populated areas of Minxing Road. Yi was being dragged and carried by him, and Yi was struggling, making it difficult for him to carry her. At this moment, he squatted down and flipped Yi over onto his lap. He raised his hand and slapped Yi's buttocks twice. "Pia, Pia." Yi was stunned. Qin Fian and Xia Qian were both shocked. After Yi was beaten, she stopped. Her father had never hit her like this since she was young. He hit her buttocks so hard that there must be finger marks on her buttocks. Not only was her head covered in blood from the collision today, she had also embarrassed herself in front of her friends. Now, she was being hit by him. Jiang Zhao did not say a word. He placed Yi flat on the ground and let her stand on her own. He did not carry her anymore and forcefully pulled her by the hand towards Qin Fian's car. He pulled open the car door and placed Yi on the ground. He turned around and said, "Qin Fian, what are you trying to do? Can't you afford to compensate for the collision?" Qin Fian coughed awkwardly and quickly walked over to Jiang Zhao. Xia Qian knew that Yi was injured and that Jiang Zhao's expression was for her to see. Brother Zhao, Jiang Zhao did not have much time to waste here. "Xia Qian, you'd better get someone to tow the car. Someone will come over immediately to revoke your license. Go back to school. What right do you have?" Jiang Zhao stood by the car door and looked at Xia Qian. His eyes were cold as he said, you don't have to go back to school. I've already asked the driver to take a picture of the location of the collision. I'd like to see if Qiu Xiaoye dares to come out and compensate you." Xia Qian saw that Jiang Zhao was about to get into the car and chased after him. "Hey, don't be like this. Let's not talk about the license first. I'll take Yi to the hospital. Don't meddle in her business. From now on." Jiang Zhao said in a deep voice, "If you dare to ask Yi to sit in your car again, Xia Qian, I'll make sure you never get a driver's license for the rest of your life. Try me if you don't believe me." Jiang Zhao got into the car and closed the door. Qin Fian got into the front seat and closed the door as well. Yi had been beaten up and felt very wronged. She shrank into the other corner of the car door and bit her lip. She looked out the window and the blood on her forehead lessened. She didn't want to see Jiang Zhao, that tyrant. Jiang Zhao told the driver the address of the private hospital and asked if there was a first aid kit in the car. The driver took out a first aid kit from the front drawer. It was not as complete as the one at home, but it had alcohol, sterile cotton, and gauze. Qin Fian turned to look at Yi and asked kindly, "Sister-in-law, are you dizzy?" "Don't call me sister-in-law." "Shut up." Yi and Jiang Zhao's voices were not soft. Qin Fian saw that the two of them were mocking him at the same time and sighed. His eyes flashed innocently. "God, I can't afford to offend you. You're too fierce." Yi continued to look out the window. Jiang Zhao was so angry that he didn't even have the energy to scold her. If he hadn't seen the small wound on her forehead when he pulled her away, he would have torn Xia Qian apart. He dabbed the sterile cotton with alcohol. "Come here." The woman tilted her head even more and ignored him. She had had enough. He actually hit her. She liked him so much and thought about him all the time. He actually hit her. They hadn't even lost and she couldn't stand it anymore. "I told you to come here." He reached out and grabbed the stubborn woman's chin. Just as he was about to pull her towards him, he realized that the woman was glaring at him fiercely. The whites of her eyes were red and watery, but there were no tears. She was biting her lips tightly and trembling a little. Even the tip of her nose was trembling slightly. "Disinfect your wound first before going to the hospital." Although his voice was still cold, it was obviously lower. Yi released her lips that she had been biting, but then she bit her lower lip with her upper teeth. She reached out and pushed away the cotton ball that Jiang Zhao was about to put on her face. "It's none of your business. If I don't care about you, who will?" Looking at his wife's pitiful face covered in blood, he couldn't help but get angry. Although the injury wasn't serious, what if it was serious? A powerful novel, Songshu 566. Chapter 550. Xia Qian cares about you. I told you not to play with her. Did you listen to me? Look at her. She doesn't have a proper temperament. She's crazy. Are you sure you want to play with her? Did you even listen to me? Did you get yourself into this state, or am I wrong? You're right, you're all right, okay. Anyway, you have the final say. Did you ask for my opinion? Can't I have any of my own wishes? His nose was suddenly so sour that he couldn't control it. Salty streams rushed out of his eyes. His nose twitched as he inhaled. Yi-er's voice was so loud that she couldn't calm down. The driver in front didn't dare to show the slightest bit of curiosity. Qin Fian pretended to look at the scenery outside the window. Jiang Zhao, can you be a little more fair? What didn't I listen to you? Other than the marriage, I was wrong and despicable. Tell me, what didn't I listen to you? She rubbed the back of her hand on her face, and her face was smudged again. Jiang Zhao knew that at this time, if he couldn't hold back his anger, he would have to argue. Okay, treat the wound first. Let's not talk about it. Yi-er still refused to let Jiang Zhao touch her forehead. She pushed his hand away and cried as she complained, why don't you say it? Jiang Zhao, think about it yourself. Is there anything that I haven't done well? Is there anything I'm not sensible about? You want me to be dignified and reserved, elegant and generous when I go out. I've been married to you for so long, but I haven't even worn bright green or dazzling red. I tried my best to please you. Every pair of your leather shoes was wiped by me. Did I ask someone else to do it? When we cooked at home, didn't you have the most favorite dishes on the table? When you went out to socialize, no matter how late it was, when wasn't I waiting for you at the door? How many times have you fallen asleep on the floor next to the sofa after drinking too much? Which time haven't I dragged you upstairs? Tell me, I'm your wife. Even if I forced you to get married, it's my fault. I shouldn't have fought with Ouyang Yen for the position of Mrs. Jiang. I'll try my best to make up for it, right? Have I ever interfered between you and her? Didn't I ignore it all along? What else do you want? Qin Fian's chest was full of air, and he slowly exhaled. He didn't want to disturb the couple's quarrel. As Jiang Zhao listened to Yi-er's words, his heart felt numb and uncomfortable. How could he not know that Yi-er had done all this for him? That was why he always thought that she was pretty good and always tried to treat her better. But when she mentioned making amends for his mistakes, his expression changed. He hated it when she brought up Ouyang Yen. She didn't care. If she didn't care, would she have the right to say it in front of others? She also wanted to tell everyone that she was Jiang Zhao's wife and didn't care if he had other women outside. Who wasn't at the age of 19? Who wasn't colorful and pure at the age of love? Even if she was precocious, she should be at the age where she had feelings for love. If her lover was unfaithful, how could she not fly into a rage? However, she had to act like an older woman who was indifferent to her husband's affair. This was clearly telling others that she didn't care about him at all, not at all. She was telling others that she didn't have any feelings for him at all. Are you done? No. It was rare for Yi-er to vent. If she didn't say it out loud, she would feel uncomfortable. She sniffled and sniffled, but still wanted to finish her sentence in one go. I'm so obedient to you. Can't you make me feel a little better? Do I have friends? After Dad's accident, which classmate in the elite school wasn't afraid that I would cause trouble for their family? They couldn't wait to stay as far away as possible. Even my fiancé broke off the engagement. Only Jingling was good to me, but Mother Jing was also afraid that I would go to Jingling. I didn't even have a friend who wanted to chat with me. It wasn't easy for me to meet Sister Xiaoye and Xia Qian. At that time, they knew about my family and didn't even know about your existence. But they didn't hide from me and were willing to be my friends. I only have these few friends now, and you still don't allow me to play with them. Are you trying to make me suffer from depression? It's best if I get depression and commit suicide. Then you'll be widowed and won't have to get a divorce. You can marry Ouyang Yen openly and no one will say anything bad about you. In the face of Yi Er's tearful cries, Jiang Zhao's eyes were cold. Slowly, there was a hint of warmth. Ignoring her resistance, he grabbed her chin and wiped the blood off her face with a wet disinfectant cotton ball. One by one, the blood-red cotton balls faded and he threw them into the trash bag. He knew the reason for his bad attitude. First, she didn't listen to him and continued to play with that perverted Xia Qian. Second, she lied to him again when she sent him a text message. Third, her face was covered in blood when he was about to confront her. Fourth, she refused to get out of the car even when her face was covered in blood. She dared to sit in the car of a driver who couldn't even drive straight. She even dared to complain, resist, and say that she didn't want to live with him. He was troubled by too many things, and the one thing he shouldn't be troubled by was the fact that she didn't love him. He married her because he wanted to protect her. So many people bullied her and could have killed her. Her mother didn't want her, her father was in jail, and her brother wanted her to work the night shift at a nightclub. No matter where she went, she had to live under someone else's roof. At least for a girl like her who didn't have any education or work experience, it was impossible for her to find a high-paying job. He pushed her away and she had nowhere to go. He knew that she used him. It was an established fact. He knew that she didn't love him. It was also an established fact. He was too anxious. When she mentioned Ouyang Yen just now, he was troubled. After being troubled, he forgot his original intention. He didn't care about whether she loved him or not, but now he had to force her. He didn't even allow her to say anything outside. He even wanted to deceive himself. Love was a meaningless thing. Those young people who started a relationship in their teens would say things like, "I love you, do you love me?" or "we'll be together forever." He was past that age. Even if he wasn't, he couldn't say those words. He felt terrible. After Yi Er said those words, he was afraid that his voice would tremble. He wanted to calm down. He didn't look into her eyes. Her eyes were filled with tears, and the tears washed away the blood stains on her face. After her face was clean, she still pouted and glared at him. Before they got married, he had never seen her cry. She didn't cry in front of him. There were times when he accidentally saw it. She knew that she didn't have to endure it after getting married. He took a piece of tissue paper from the back seat of the car. He didn't take it seriously. He just crumpled it into a ball and rubbed it on her face. There was a lazy teasing tone in his voice. "Well, it's good that you know. Live well. Otherwise, you can't even blame me. After you die, do you expect me to take care of your father and brother? Why should I? Do you think that I, Jiang Zhao, am a reincarnation of God? Besides, like you said, after you die, I can marry someone else openly. My new wife definitely won't agree to me taking care of my deceased wife's family. At most, she'll give them some money. Taking care of my deceased wife's family is such an ideal situation. It definitely won't appear in my life. You know that I'm not that kind." Qin Fian was playing with his phone. At this moment, he took out his earphones and plugged them in. He leaned his head back on the pillow and listened to music. Yi Er gritted her teeth as she listened to Jiang Zhao. Great, he was looking forward to her getting married. She didn't want to. She wanted to live a colorful life. Dream on. I won't let you have such a good time. The corners of the man's mouth lifted slightly. It was a sinister smile. The tears on her face were wiped clean. So, cooperate. When they arrived at the hospital, Jiang Zhao didn't allow Qin Fian and the driver to follow him. Qin Fian stayed in the car obediently. It seemed like there was no chance for him to look at the plot of land in 326. There was no chance at all. Forget it. Family was more important. Jiang Zhao pulled Yi Er upstairs and treated her wound carefully again. The doctor said, although the injury isn't serious, the surface of the wound is damaged to the dermis. There will probably be a scar. When Yi Er heard that there would be a scar, she stood up from the stool. No, there's some kind of inseam now. You can't see the wound, right? The doctor said, but your wound isn't neat. We can't sew it like that. It's just a little bit. It's okay. You have bangs, so it's okay. Besides, it'll only be a little white and fainter after it's healed. No. Yi Er stomped her feet anxiously. When Jiang Zhao was with her, apart from doing things in a straightforward manner, he also liked to reach out and wipe her forehead. He would brush away the loose hair on her forehead and say that her forehead was full and beautiful. In the morning, she knew that Jiang Zhao was very gentlemanly and liked to give her a good morning kiss on her forehead. Just a little. Do you have to go that far? Jiang Zhao snorted. That's why I say that you girls nowadays are so superficial. After all the fooling around, the doctor said that it wouldn't be obvious. Who's the one who keeps looking to see if there's a small scar on your forehead, and one that's small and faint at that? You. Weren't you the one who wanted to see it? What a disgrace. Now you don't want to see it anymore. No one wants to see it anymore. Yi Er knew that a woman would doll herself up for the man who loves her. Jiang Zhao knew that it really didn't matter. After the X-ray was taken, the waiting time was slightly longer. Even if she got in through the back door, she would only have to wait a little shorter than others. Yi Er lay on the special lounge, which was even more comfortable than the sofa in the hotel suite. I already said that there's no need to take the X-ray. Jiang Zhao stood in the corner of the bookshelf and picked something to pass the time. I'm afraid that you'll hurt your head. Yi Er huffed. I didn't. Jiang Zhao happened to pick up a magazine and walked towards her. Yes, you didn't hurt your head because your brain has never been working well. Who knows, maybe after this accident, you'll turn from an idiot to a smart person. Jiang Zhao. Yi Er panicked again. She was angered by him again. Couldn't this man have at least one good point about her? What part of my brain is not working well? When has my brain been not working well? Jiang Zhao sat down on the single-seater massage sofa beside Yi Er and pressed the switch on the armrest. After adjusting the pressure, his calves and back, which were more tired, slowly relaxed. He flipped open the magazine and saw that the first page was a car advertisement. He ignored the perfect streamlined car in the advertisement and saw the slogan, Preventive Active Safety System. It would have been better if he hadn't seen it. The moment he saw it, his mind was filled with images of her bleeding head. His dry and warm palms started to sweat. His voice was not loud, but it was a reprimand. If your brain is working well, why would you sit in that idiot Xia Qian's car? Yi Er sat up. You're doing it again. Awesome novel, Hongcha 866. Chapter 551. Great, she's starting to resist again. He wasn't talking about whether or not he wanted to be friends with Xia Qian. He was talking about the car issue. She couldn't talk about that either. Yeah, I have to remind you that you can't just sit in a woman's car. Besides, don't you know that she didn't have a car before? You clearly know that she just bought a car. How dare you get in? Don't we have a car? If you don't like the car in the garage, you can buy another one. Do you think I'm short of money? Even if it's too late to buy another one, didn't I give you the money for a taxi? Get in and get out. Jiang Zhao, you. As soon as Yi Er mentioned the car ride, she was reminded of how he had dragged her out of the car and slapped her twice. She didn't know if she would dare to lie down like this the next day after she woke up. He even scolded her. "Why do you dislike me so much? Why are you talking about me not liking you again? Isn't this your fault? If you're wrong, you have to change. You still haven't admitted your mistake. You still say that you don't like me. You're fierce to me, and you even hit me." Yi Er turned to look at Jiang Zhao pitifully. Jiang Zhao was frustrated. He wasn't frustrated because Yi Er didn't repent. He was frustrated because she used this tactic every time. She kept saying that Xia Qian was like cement. When she ran to the Qin palace to threaten him, when she bickered with him at the nightclub, when she drank the vodka that she couldn't drink, when she took off her high heels to chase after robbers, wasn't she also like cement? But the speed at which she changed her expression was just like now. She was still shouting fiercely, "You're doing it again." Now, a pair of black, watery rabbit eyes appeared. "You still hit me." Her voice was loud, but her tone was completely different. "I hit you because you didn't listen to me." Jiang Zhao didn't think he hit the wrong person. She was bleeding and didn't need to go to the hospital. What was she trying to do? She even hid in the car and wanted to be friends with Xia Qian. She wanted to go out to play. This little liar. But you hit me in front of so many people, you made me lose face, ah. Sob sob sob, I'm so embarrassed. My butt hurts so much. Ah, sob sob sob. Yi Er burst into tears the moment she started crying. Under normal circumstances, she would endure it. For example, in front of Ouyang Yan, she could endure it and had to endure it. Now that only Jiang Zhao was here, she didn't believe that anyone would laugh at her. Anyway, she had already embarrassed herself today. There was also another mentality. It was just like when she was reprimanded by her father when she was young. If his tone was a little harsh and made her sad, cry, or go on a hunger strike, her father would definitely apologize to her. When Jiang Zhao saw Yi Er raise his head and yell that his butt hurt, he remembered that he was so angry that he hit him a little too hard. But at that time, his mood was just like when he was a child and fell from a tree. His father was worried that he would get hurt, but when he saw that he was fine, he picked him up and hit him on the butt. He even scolded, "How many times have I told you not to climb so high? Won't you die from the fall? Do you still dare to go next time? Do you still dare to go?" After scolding him, he gave him another slap on the butt. She was crying so hard. How painful must it be? "Come. Let me take a look. Let me take a look." Throwing away the magazine in his hand, he strode over to Yi Er's side with his long legs. Before Yi Er could react, the man had already unbuttoned her pants and pulled down the zipper. With a strong hand, he picked up the woman and flipped her over. His fingers stuck into the waist of her pants and pulled it down. Her butt was exposed. "Ah! What are you doing?" Yi Er screamed again. Dong Xuebing was so fast. He actually took off her pants. Seeing the red finger marks on Yi Er's snow-white buttocks, Jiang Zhao's heart ached. He squatted down and blew at her buttocks. "Honey, I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. Let me blow at it for you. I'll take some medicine and apply it to you later." The nurse outside heard the patient shouting in the resting room and ran over. She was worried that the patient was in a critical condition. She pushed the door open and saw the mayor kissing his wife's butt. Dong Xuebing must have just kissed her, and he is going to kiss her again. Nurse Miss was confused. The door was already open. What should she do? Should she leave? Or should she leave? Or should she leave immediately? Just when she was hesitating on how to end her life, the mayor spoke. "Get out." The nurse knew that the mayor's angry face and fierce eyes meant that he wanted to say, "Get lost." But he was worried about his public image. So, he decided to write it down and get lost immediately. Jiang Zhao was furious. His wife's but was seen by someone, and he did not want anyone else to see it. That's why he said he was going to get some ointment for her but in the end, someone came in and saw her but. Dong Xuebing left Yi Er's but on the sofa and stood up. He walked to the double doors and locked them. Yi laid on the sofa. She wanted to get up, but Jiang Zhao pressed her down and made her continue to lie on the sofa. He said guiltily, "Just lie on the sofa. You can't even lie down or sit down." "Ah. My butt is damaged." Yi Er stretched out her hand to touch her butt. What does he mean by damaged? Jiang Zhao grabbed Yi Er's hand, but his own hand was gently stroking Yi Er's butt. He was very melancholic. "Oh no, I definitely can't use it tonight. After a long time, it would definitely swell." Why did he hit her so hard back then? His hands were too cheap. She will not be able to sit down when she goes back. Could it be that he was a violent person? That's impossible. Dong Xuebing felt that he was a gentleman. A gentleman wearing a lion's skin is still a gentleman. Jiang Zhao. Yi Er pushed Jiang Zhao's hand away and pulled up her pants. "You bastard. Is my butt really that useless? Is my butt only useful in your eyes?" As long as he was with her, his mind would be filled with those censored images. But now that she was injured, she actually still wanted to use her butt at night. This was considered as having tender feelings for the fairer sex. His heart ached for her butt. No matter if it was in the front or back position, it would cause discomfort. So, was he prepared to let her go tonight? Jiang Zhao did not understand Yi Er's thoughts. "Then what else do you want your butt to be used for?" "My butt can still be sat down." "Done." Jiang Zhao smiled mischievously. That's right. Other than sitting, her butt could still be done. Why didn't he think of that at that time? He originally thought that she would not be able to sit down properly tonight, but she still wanted to do it. Little pervert. Xia Qian and the others probably did not lead her astray. When it was just the two of them, she would even find that kind of game on the internet to play. See the game in the group. Did two send her meat that day? It was normal for her to have such thoughts now. Yes, yes, yes. Do it, do it. If you feel that your butt is better and there's no problem, then we can talk about doing it. I don't want you to complain that your butt hurts while doing it. Yi Er looked at Jiang Zhao's cheap smile and was so angry that she stuck out her chest and promised. I won't complain that my butt hurts while sitting. If my butt can't even be used for sitting, then I'm not Yun Yi. Jiang Zhao really had to hand it to her. This little girl was getting more and more mature recently. When she said, do it, she said it so confidently and boldly. She was really very likable. Even with her but in this state, she was still thinking about the great career between husband and wife. It was rare. Yi Er pulled up her pants and stood up. She did not want to lie down anymore. At this time, she did not want to sit down. The wound on her head did not need to be stitched. She cleaned it up and applied some medicine. The doctor said that there was no need to stick anything on it. It would be better in a few days. Yi Er tidied up her hair and covered it. It was not obvious at all. It was fine as long as her father did not find out. After getting the X-ray, the doctor said that she was fine and her brain was not injured. Jiang Zhao heaved a sigh of relief. As long as her brain was not injured, he could let Xia Qian go and let her retake her driver's license. As long as she did not seduce Yi Er to get in her car, he would not cause trouble for her. Back in the car, Yi Er's buttocks really hurt at this time. The places that should be swollen and the places that should be red and purple all stood up. Sitting in the back of Qin Fian's car, she was quite uncomfortable. She leaned sideways and only used a little of her buttocks to touch the seat. Jiang Zhao saw that Yi Er was very uncomfortable sitting there. He originally wanted to bring her to Qin Fian to look at the plot of land. But now he thought better of it. He wanted her to go home and lie down. It was better for her to go to school directly. Anyway, it was a cram school. There was no need to be too formal. He had checked her previous grades. 80 marks was not bad. She often failed math. Even if the Yun family did not decline in the past, she would not be able to go to a first-tier university. Unless she donated a building to the school and saw if they would accept a special place. He could not do something so ostentatious. He wanted her to take the exams herself. He could help her make up for it. Science and engineering was out of the question. Arts had lower marks and was much easier. However, it was not very useful. It was better to learn management or political economy. Not to mention that the marks were not too high, these things were practical. After all, in China's environment, economic development was mostly linked to politics. If she learned these things, she could go to the company if she wanted to. If she did not want to go, he could get a job as a civil servant. It was very stable. Fian, let's go take a look the day after tomorrow. I have a few meetings tomorrow and can't leave. Let's go have dinner today and then send me back to 9th Mansion. Qin Fian was not surprised that Jiang Zhao would say this. Okay. Fian, don't tell Grandpa about what happened today. The last time we stayed in the hospital, it was your big mouth that spread the news. Brother, you wronged me. That day, it was not my big mouth at all. It was Grandpa who asked you and sister-in-law to go back for a night. That was why I said that you had to stay in the hospital and did not have time to go back. Qin Fian's innocence did not get any sympathy from Jiang Zhao. Instead, he looked like he was saying, I will never believe you again. Back at 9th Mansion, Jiang Zhao pulled Yi Er. When they were about to enter the door, he coughed. Honey, does your butt hurt so much that it's hard to walk? Yeah. Then when Dad comes over later, can you bear with it? Jiang Zhao. Yi Er tilted her head and glared at Jiang Zhao. Jiang Zhao thought to himself, honey, I'm so pitiful now, so pitiful. When Dad sees that you're injured and asks about it, and you tell him the truth, I'm done for. Dad won't care if you hit your head first. He will definitely blame me for hitting your butt. Later, he will say something like, you're not suitable for each other. Divorce. How can I afford to be hurt? He coughed again and put his arm around her waist. He said stubbornly, if Dad finds out, I'll go on a business trip for a month. Yi Er spat blood. I can't afford to be hurt, I can't afford to be hurt. This bastard. Attention. Xinwu 799. Chapter 552. If you want to go on a business trip, so be it. You are the one who slapped me. Can't you find someone to stand up for me? Jiang Zhao saw Yi Er was serious. She was afraid that he would go on a business trip. Logically speaking, after sending her home at this time, she should go back to work in the building. However, he was very worried about her butt. Firstly, he had to apply medicine for her. Secondly, he was afraid that she would accidentally cry in front of his father-in-law because she was still young. After all, it was very painful outside. Honey, how about this? Behave well and don't let Dad find out. After we go upstairs, I'll apply medicine for you. Then, I'll let you spank my butt. Do you think it is worth it? What? Yi Er felt it was unbelievable. Jiang Zhao had made such a request. Last time, she knew Dong Xiaobing's reaction when her father wanted them to get a divorce. Dong Xiaobing will not get a divorce like this. It will be bad if other people know about it. Which deputy mayor got a divorce after getting married? You didn't hear me clearly. What I mean is, you just don't let Dad find out that I had slapped your butt. When we go back, you will slap my butt back. Do you think it is enough? Yi-er smiled. The more she smiled, the happier she became. Her eyes were curved from smiling. She couldn't hold it in any longer. She put her hand to her mouth and then simply covered her mouth and laughed. Fine, fine, fine. For this, I will bear with it. I will stick to it until the end. When both of them were discussing, the door opened. It was Yun Hongwei. He had nothing to do today, and he was different from the other prisoners. There were many people watching him, and he could only stay at home and read the newspapers. When he heard Yi-er and Jiang Zhao's voice, he opened the door. Why are you both back so early? Have you had lunch? Yes, Dad. Yi-er smiled happily. All right, it's good that you've eaten. Why is Jiang Zhao back? Dad, I bumped into Yi-er on the way back, so I sent her home. It is lunch break now, and I will take a nap before returning to the building. Jiang Zhao said as he entered the house with Yi-er and started to change his shoes. The two of them chatted and laughed as they went upstairs. Yun Hongwei looked at the young couple and felt quite gratified. Jiang Zhao treated Yi-er quite well. In the beginning, when Yi-er told him that Jiang Zhao treated her well, he did not believe her. Now, he believed her. The couple was in the room. Yi-er had changed into a dress and was lying on the bed. Her panties were tucked under her legs. Jiang Zhao carefully cleaned her up and applied medicine. The medicine was cold, with a hint of cool mint. After applying the ointment, Jiang Zhao asked Yi-er to put his butt on the bed and not wear pants. I'm not sleeping. What are you doing instead of sleeping? It's best to take a nap at noon. People say that if you have a nap at noon, you won't have to worry about work. No, I'm not going to sleep now. If I sleep, I'll be annoyed. As she spoke, she propped herself up. She would be very annoyed if she didn't take revenge. I have to hit you first so that I won't be annoyed. Honey, let's talk about it when you're better. Jiang Zhao supported Yi-er. What did you say just now? You said that as long as you deceive Dad, you'll let me hit your butt. No, I must hit you back. I didn't say that I won't let you hit me back. But think about it. Your butt is useless now. It's not flexible. If you hit me hard, won't it be taxing on your body? What if she hit him very hard? He still had to go to work and couldn't move. Even if he wanted to hit her, he had to wait for the weekend to recuperate at home. Jiang Zhao thought in a manly manner. He did not want to deny it. Who said that? Who said that? I already said that my butt is not only useful for that. My butt can still sit. It can still sit. If you don't believe me, I'll sit for you right now. Honey, honey, good honey. As long as you don't hit me now, I'll do it. I promise you everything. Yi-er pushed Jiang Zhao away and walked to the dressing table. I'll sit. She sat on the dressing table. Her butt felt like it was being trampled by 10,000 grass mud horses. Her butt was trembling from the horses' hooves. It hurt so much. Ah! Yi-er stood up. She sat too hard and her face turned pale from the pain. Jiang Zhao saw this and knew that it was over. He misunderstood. But he was unwilling to admit it. See, I told you that you can't sit. Your butt is broken. You still don't believe me. You can sit for another one. What did you say? What? I said that your butt is broken and you can't even sit, but you insisted on sitting. Now you can't even lie down. Yi Er was ashamed. So he did not do what he said. How embarrassing. It's all because of you. Alright, alright. I'll let you hit me back. Pip. Ah. It hurts. The person who screamed was not Jiang Zhao, but Yi Er. She shook her reddened palm and said sadly, "Oh my God, is your butt made of metal? Why are you so tight?" "I'm used to it. Whenever I feel danger, I'm used to tightening my muscles. Honey, I'll come back at night to help you apply medicine. I'm going to work now. Sleep well." "Jiang Zhao, your butt is too hard. I'm at a disadvantage. I don't want to hit you with my hands anymore. I want to change my weapon." Jiang Zhao fled the scene. It was not that he did not love his wife, but he did not know how to coax her anymore. She had hit him, it was swollen, and it hurt. Now that she had hit him back, she wanted to blame his butt for the pain. If this continued, he would not be able to go to work. Jiang Zhao had just reached the government building when he received a call from Qin Fian. "Brother, did you see the news just now?" "No, I didn't have time." "What's the matter?" Jiang Zhao walked out of the elevator and went to his office. The land at 326 can't be bought anymore. It said that the mercury level is too high. It's only suitable for a landfill. Is it a statement from the government? Yes. Then do you still want to go there? When Jiang Zhao called, he did not mention the key words or the land. In this circle, there were always ears. It was difficult to find someone to trust. "No, so I won't look at it. This matter is over." Qin Fian seemed very happy. Fortunately, the news came out at the right time. Otherwise, Grandpa would scold me again if I bought a piece of land for a landfill. "Okay, anyway, it's your own business. You can make your own decision. If you don't cause trouble, it'll save me a lot of trouble." Jiang Zhao hung up the phone and saw Lu Qing standing at the door waiting for him. The corners of his mouth turned down and he shrugged. If Lu Qing could make such a humorous gesture, then the main character who would give him a headache must have come, Enchanting. Jiang Zhao gently clenched one hand into a fist and supported it on his waist. The other hand touched his forehead. He was really a little disheartened. Then, with a huff, he let out a long breath. When he pushed open the door and stepped into the office, Jiang Zhao stood tall and straight with an outstanding aura. "Good afternoon, Ting. Brother Zhao, I've been waiting for you for so long. Where are you going?" "You have to drink all the soup I made." Ting was playing the role of a good wife and mother today. The last time she went to the Qin family, Old Master Qin kept saying that Jiang Zhao was afraid of gaining weight because Yi Er's cooking was too good. He didn't want to eat out every day and had to eat at home. What was so great about cooking? She could also learn. "I'm going home to take an afternoon nap with your sister-in-law." Jiang Zhao directly walked around the thermos on the table and said something more important. He knew that every time Enchanting came, Lu Qing would very cooperatively follow her in. Today was no exception. When Lu Qing heard Jiang Zhao say this, he couldn't help but pfft and looked at Jiang Zhao. Jiang Zhao gave him a warning glare. "What?" "There's an afternoon nap time in the building. You can also go home and sleep with your girlfriend." He knew that he had never joked with Jiang Zhao like this before. It must be a requirement of the plot. Lu Qing thickened his skin and said, "Jingling is more busy. There's no such thing as an afternoon nap. He can only rest when the guests leave." "Ha, are you saying that it's too easy in the building?" At this time, Jiang Zhao was a little bored. He sat on the sofa and glanced at Lu Qing, then turned to look at Ting. "Ting, tell me, Is that what Lu Qing means? Should I let him work overtime until he can't sleep at night? Enchanting was obviously unhappy. She snorted. What does it have to do with me whether he can sleep at night or not? Ting, I'm not criticizing you, but you can find something to do after you graduate. For example, you can take the civil service exam or learn how to do business from your mother. You're so idle all day. Aren't you afraid that people will say that rich people's daughters are useless? Isn't your wife unemployed too? I went to university, after all. I'm better than her, right? Your sister-in-law has a lot of things to do all day long. When do you think she has time to come to the building to look for me? Enchanting said disdainfully, what is she busy with? She might as well do the housework and the nanny's chores. We have servants to cook and wash clothes. When the time comes, her hands will be rough and rough. Occasionally, when she's in a good mood, she will do it. That's fun. Jiang Zhao's patience to joke suddenly disappeared. His face darkened. Ting, you've gone overboard. Enchanting said unrepentantly, when have I? Lu Qing, you go out first. I have something to call you. This was the first time Jiang Zhao took the initiative to ask Lu Qing to leave after Enchanting came. Lu Qing left tactfully. Call me if you need anything. His face hurt. Okay, I know. Seeing Lu Qing close the door, Jiang Zhao lit a cigarette. Ting, you shouldn't judge what your sister-in-law does. How am I judging? I'm telling the truth. Isn't she just a nanny? Her family is ruined, and she has such a low education level. Isn't all she can do to make men happy? Why would you fall for a cook? The corner of Jiang Zhao's mouth twitched. He reached out and put out the cigarette in the ashtray. When he put out the cigarette, he used a lot of force. The yezi that didn't turn gray was all over the ashtray. No one would be able to stand others criticizing their wife like this. However, this person was Enchanting, the daughter of the provincial party secretary. He had to tolerate it. His voice was low and sullen. Ting, tell me then. What's so good about me in your eyes? Why are you so clingy? Enchanting was smug. You're handsome, have a good figure, have a good family background, have a few degrees, and have no scandals. You won't fool around with other women outside. Although you ignore me sometimes, I think you're very gentlemanly. Jiang Zhao sneered. How do you know that I won't fool around outside? Enchanting looked at Jiang Zhao's expression and was unsure. However, she was firm in her thoughts. I'm talking about sleeping with other women. You won't do that. Jiang Zhao's smile widened. How many politicians have you seen fooling around outside? Do you know if they've fooled around outside? Did she think that Jiang Zhao was still a virgin after living for almost 30 years? Childish. I don't believe you. You don't see things that you haven't seen. Ting, I think you're naive. You can see my good points, and others can see them too. But can you see my ugly side? You think I'm a gentleman, but how can you be so sure that I'm not a beast? Anyway, I don't believe you. Come and see, Hongcha 866. Chapter 553. Ting, do you really want to leave your father's protection and see how many dirty things there are in this world? When you see a person's good appearance, you think he's good from the inside out. When one day, his unbearable side appears in front of you, how do you accept it? Gentlemen. In today's high society, how many were real gentlemen? Wearing the guise of a gentleman to gain sponsorship, gain popularity, and fight for status. Being a gentleman in front of a woman was just to get her into bed. Gentlemen. He hadn't seen many of them. Fei Yan wouldn't find a woman outside, but was he a gentleman? Wasn't he a beast in human clothing and a fake gentleman? Oh, then did Yunyi see the bad side of you? She accepted it. That's right. Unfortunately, she discovered my darkish side. For example, he was actually not a gentleman. He was a hypocrite. He was selfish, vengeful, sinister, and cunning. There were many sides to him that others did not know, but she knew them all. Since he was young, he pretended to be a harmless child. When he grew up, he pretended to be very elegant and magnanimous. What? You're afraid that she'll tell others about your dark side, so you married her like this? Ting, that's between us. You're so young and have such a good family background. Are you afraid that you won't be able to get married? Jiang Zhao's tone became heavier towards the end. Ting evaded and pushed the thermos on the table in front of Jiang Zhao. Drink this. I cooked it. Your sister-in-law makes me drink a lot of soup every day. I can't drink anymore. I'm still full now. Jiang Zhao pushed the thermos back. Ting was a so-called lady from a prestigious family. Jiang Zhao didn't believe that she didn't understand what he was saying. For example, Ting, who obviously didn't have a gentle and virtuous temperament and still drank and got high in the disco bar, but in front of her uncle and elders, she would put away her perverse personality and hold on to Xing Weiguo's arm. She would try her best to restrain her smile, and even her voice was much lower than usual. Not all the children of wealthy families were as well behaved as Fei Yu. At least until now, among the second and third generations of Hai Cheng's wealthy families, there wasn't a single one with Fei Yu's personality that didn't stir up trouble. After Ting was rejected and the performance was over, her true nature was revealed again. Her tone of voice did not match her formal dress at all. Jiang Zhao, I won't despise you for your second marriage. Second marriage? Jiang Zhao laughed. When did I get married for the second time? How long have I been married? You haven't even had time to go on your honeymoon yet. Where did you get the answer to your second marriage? What I'm saying is that I won't mind if you divorce Yunyi. I can still marry you even if you divorce her. Jiang Zhao let out a long sigh. He smacked his lips and placed his hands on his knees. Then, as if he was using all his strength, he let out another sigh and stood up. He turned around and walked to the window, looking out with all his might. Ting did not understand. She suspected that there was an unknown object outside. Jiang Zhao, what are you doing? I'm checking to see if it's daytime or nighttime, Jiang Zhao said very seriously. It's daytime. It's so bright. Do you have to go over there to look? Jiang Zhao turned around and leaned against the window. He thought it was a little funny. So you know it's daytime. Yeah, can't you tell? Ting rolled her eyes at Jiang Zhao and scolded him in her heart. He was crazy. Jiang Zhao thought to himself. Look. He even said that his wife was not good at this and that. At least his wife was better than Ting in one aspect. No matter how stupid she was smarter than Ting. If his wife heard him say something like that, her first reaction would be to know that he was being sarcastic. She would definitely jump up or scream, Jiang Zhao, you bastard. You actually said I was daydreaming. Or she would act cute and snuggle into his arms. Hubby, how can you say that about your cute wife? Or she would immediately turn into a black rabbit and look at him with watery eyes. She sniffled and said, Hubby, you despise me. You despise me again. Sighed, the gap between them was not just a little. Jiang Zhao, you and Yunyi are not compatible at all. My education level is higher than Yunye's, and my family background is better too. We will have more common topics to talk about. Jiang Zhao's tone was light, but his words were disdainful. Oh, what can I talk to you about? The development requirements of China's advanced productivity. The direction of China's advanced culture. The fundamental interests of China's most people. Do you want to talk to me? Enchanting was confused and swallowed her saliva. I don't want to talk about those political things. What's there to talk about? I'm not interested. Oh, then let me talk to you about why China wants to maintain the stability of its currency. What's the motive for America to put pressure on China's currency? How can China not repeat Japan's mistakes under such pressure? Is the importance of currency stability to imports and exports? Enchanting frowned again. It's not like I don't know what you're talking about, but I didn't study economics in university. I'm not interested in these things, and I don't want to talk to you in depth. The reason was clear on the surface, but it was impossible to talk about it in depth. Oh, then let me talk to you about city construction. City planning. Investment promotion. How to smoothly transition Haiqing's industries to the border counties. How to successfully transition Haiqing from an industrial city to a tourist city. You want to talk to me? Enchanting couldn't bear to listen to such boring things. Who wanted to talk about such things? Oh, then tell me, what do you and I have in common? Luxury goods. Private customization. Private jets. Which celebrity is the most handsome? What kind of beauty products are eaten? Secrets of the rich. Or which nightclub is the best? The best disc beater. Enchanting clapped her hands happily. Brother Zhao, you're so nice. We can talk about these things. But... Jiang Zhao paused awkwardly, then shrugged and smiled. I'm not interested in these things. I've never been interested in such things. Enchanting was petrified. Jiang Zhao, you're too much. Ting, if I'm going too far, I'm already going too far when you said that your sister-in-law isn't good at everything. Jiang Zhao crossed his arms in front of his chest and raised his chin. I've been holding it in. If it were someone else, I would have thrown the thermos in front of you in your face. I'm still smiling and joking with you, and you're saying that I'm going too far. Oh, also, I have to explain to you about your sister-in-law's shortcomings and her family background. Jiang Zhao glanced at Enchanting's angry and resentful expression and walked to his desk. He was a little worried about his opponent. He sat back and crossed his legs like a big boss as he said to Enchanting, you said it yourself. My family background is good, and I have several degrees. You're right, my family background is really good. It's so good that I don't find it challenging to do things. After saying that, he frowned in pain, but his eyes were full of pride. Look at me. I already have such a good family background. Why would I need to find a wife with a good family background? Now that your sister-in-law is here, I can experience what it's like to be a hero saving a damsel in distress, right? How challenging is that? Jiang Zhao laughed, but Enchanting gritted her teeth. Also, you said that I have several degrees. I've read so many books. If I find someone who has read as many books as I do and stay at home every day to study the three representatives, currency inflation, and the direction of the city's economy, how boring would my life be? Besides, if I talk about these things, would someone like you, who has a diploma like you, be willing to talk to me about these things? She's working very hard and will be even more outstanding in the future. She's still young and has a bright future ahead of her. You don't have to worry about us. You really shouldn't spend your time on me. Even if I had the slightest interest in you, I wouldn't have left you alone for so long. Think about it carefully. Things like divorce won't happen to me. Don't worry. Enchanting always left in a rage because of Jiang Zhao. This time, she left with red eyes. She kept thinking about what Jiang Zhao had said. Even if I had the slightest interest in you, I wouldn't have left you alone for so long. How could this man be so hateful? How could he say such hurtful words in such an ungentlemanly manner? Resident Shi Jintian held a bunch of keys and stood outside the studio on the second floor. He really wanted to insert the keys into the keyhole to see what was inside. Actually, he didn't need to see to know that those things were Yunwu's treasures. Yunwu had gone to the company to take care of things and wasn't home during the day. However, when it was the weekend, he would stay in the studio all day and not come out. When he came out, there wasn't much change. Yunwu was still eating and sleeping. There wasn't much difference, but it was precisely because of this that he was worried. He wondered if he should harden his heart and burn everything in the room. If he burned everything, it would be a clean end. He had spoiled Yunwu too much, but the Yunwu now wasn't the Yunwu of the past. The Yunwu of the past had a weak heart and couldn't be stimulated in the slightest. He had to protect him. Yunwu was his life. But now that Yunwu had grown up and had gone to the hospital for multiple checkups, it was confirmed that there was no problem with his heart. He didn't need to protect him like that anymore. He had to let Yunwu grow up and become a man who could take things up and let go. He couldn't be as weak as he was now. Yunwu had accurate and fast marksmanship, a rational and calm mind, and had always been decisive in doing things. As long as he could overcome the hurdle of love, he would be favored by the heavens. Yunwu couldn't make this decision. As his grandfather, he would make this decision for him. When the key was close to the keyhole, his hand trembled, and the bunch of keys jingled. Anan watched as Shi Jintian went up to the second floor and didn't come down for a long time. She wanted to see what was going on and saw this scene when she stood at the staircase. She slowly retreated, walked to the garden, and called Yunwu. Anan's appearance was that of a cold beauty. She had always been cold and expressionless. When she spoke, she was also methodical. "Brother Yu, Grandpa is outside your art studio. He seems to want to open the door, but he looks very nervous." Yunwu hung up the phone very quickly. Shi Jintian was in the art studio. He pulled open the white canvas, and he couldn't bear to look at the faces under it. He didn't know what kind of charm Yunyi had that allowed her to have so many expressions under Yunwu's pen. Bright and beautiful smile, silent sadness, shyness when she lowered her eyebrows, and playfulness when she grinned. Yunyi was the change of yin and yang. The sun was the curve of the four seasons. The Chinese parasol tree behind him was also the transition from death to life. It went from being bald in winter to being green in spring, lush in summer, and golden in autumn. Attention, Hongcha 866. Chapter 554. He didn't know how long it had been since Yunyi moved into Yunwu's heart, but he could tell that the paintings were neat and meticulous. A nude painting entered his eyes. Shi Jintian turned his face away and threw it on the ground forcefully. He didn't know what kind of relationship these two people had. He only knew that it would be better to destroy this house as soon as possible. Otherwise, his grandson would really be ruined. Although Shi Jintian was over 60 years old, he was still strong and healthy. The only thing that could make him sad was this grandson of his. He took down the drawing boards on the easel one by one. The ones that were mounted on the wall and dried on the bookshelf were all taken down and pushed together. At this time, he had to go all out. He strode to the door of the studio and shouted, "Ah Gue, come and move things. Burn it clean, burn it to ashes, and use it as fertilizer for peanuts." Yunwu's car drove very fast, especially when he heard An say, "Grandpa asked the servants to move all the paintings in the studio to the open space in the back garden." The iron gate outside the house opened for Yunwu's car. The car didn't park in the parking lot in the front garden. Instead, it drove directly from the main villa to the back garden. Smoke was rising in spirals in front of the windshield. He slammed on the brakes, threw the car down, and rushed over without even closing the door. The young man was still the same young man, but he didn't have the stability that was disproportionate to his age. When he rushed into the fire recklessly, Xiantian's body swayed and he shouted, "Hold on to the young master." Perhaps the smoke was too strong, it was so strong that his eyes couldn't help but cry. There was a stinging pain in his palms and a charred smell on the back of his hands. However, when he saw the smiling faces slowly turn yellow, dark brown, and then ash, all the pain was gone. Only the most distinct feeling of tearing on his left chest was the clearest. "Grandpa," the young man punched Augue's face, then stretched out his leg to kick the servant who was trying to pull him back. He turned around and continued to save the things he cared about. His voice was no longer as clear as a spring. It was a sad cry. "Grandpa, what did I ask for?" His eyes were filled with misery and pain. His tears fell onto the painting that he had just snatched. He threw it on the ground before the flame was extinguished. He squatted on the ground and began to pat it with his bare hands. He had already made up his mind not to look for her again and let her live the life she wanted. What else could he do? He was already trying his best to let it go. What else could he do? His cries were filled with pain, and when he screamed, it was especially sorrowful. "Grandpa, what did I ask for? Why are you treating me like this? I didn't want anything. I only wanted these paintings. I didn't disturb her. I listened to you. I only wanted these paintings. Grandpa, why didn't you stab me with a knife? Why?" Xiantian had clearly made up his mind. He had clearly told himself that he had to be more ruthless towards Yunwu. He had spoiled him too much, which was why he was so stubborn when it came to matters of the heart. He was thinking that the blood flowing in his grandson's body shouldn't be so indecisive. He should have swung the knife and cut the Gordian knot. He was thinking that if he endured it a little longer, the child's hand would be in so much pain that he wouldn't dare to extend it into the fire anymore. When the pain was unbearable, he would stop. At that time, he couldn't stop him. He would just let him suffer. When the pain was over, this hurdle would be over. At worst, he would take him overseas for skin grafting. However, he could watch his grandson get burned, watch his grandson bleed, watch him throw a tantrum at the servants, but he couldn't bear to see his grandson unable to endure the pain and turn into tears in front of him. How many times had it been? It was all because of that Yunyi. Yunwu's temperament had always been pure and his appearance was quiet and beautiful. The clean shirts, t-shirts, and sweaters that he usually wore were all worn by him. Today, he was wearing an expensive suit. The shirt inside was still a flawless white. The white exposed at the cuffs were already covered in black ash. He stood up in a mess and quickly took off his suit. Holding it in his hand, he forcefully patted the flames on the rescued painting. There was nothing more painful than watching one's beloved things disappear inch by inch. Every painting was his heart's blood. Every stroke was his emotions. How could it turn into ashes bit by bit? As he said, he didn't ask for anything. He didn't let anyone see the heart-wrenching pain of this process. He had once slowly told her his feelings at that window. He said that he liked those ancient poems. There probably wouldn't be such a sad Xianwu in this world. Even if he liked someone, he could only tell her that he liked those poems. For example, "My heart pleases June, but June doesn't know." She definitely wouldn't think too much about it. Because he caught a glimpse of her gaze when Jiang Zhao came in. She was a widow. She had clearly eaten a box of fast food so quickly, but because of Jiang Zhao's unreasonable invitation, she was forced to eat another meal. That gaze wasn't forced, but joy. It was the joy and hope that only came when she could have a meal with her lover. He didn't want to enter her life again. It wasn't because he was so weak that he didn't dare to fight with Jiang Zhao, but because she needed Jiang Zhao to eat with her. That person wasn't him. It was painful to fulfill someone else's wish. It was the most painful to fulfill the happiness of one's beloved. He didn't tell anyone how he endured it. It was even more torturous than when he couldn't find her. Because at that time, there was still a little hope. He knew that after she got married, he was waiting for disappointment. When he gave up, it was the despair after the disappointment. He could clearly go to the Qin family for a meal like before, or get someone to check on Jiang Zhao's whereabouts. He could find her when she wasn't around, pretend to meet her by chance, and see how she was recently. But he thought that if he wanted to let go, he should let it go completely. More completely. It was just some nonsense to deceive himself. He gave up on the real person with a body temperature, but every day in the art room, he looked at the paintings and missed her. This was the root of the disaster. He knew that these paintings were the root of the disaster. He knew that the cloud was a disaster to him. She caused him to have difficulty breathing every night when he woke up from his deep sleep, and his heart ached like it was being twisted. She caused him to sit on the ground when he closed the door and saw those paintings, his heart and soul would be torn apart. She caused him to live in pain every day, but he still remembered her good. These paintings were the root of the disaster, but they were also hope. At least he could see them like this, caress them, and hug them to sleep. He wouldn't lose everything. Who would be able to understand such a feeling? If all these were gone, what would he do? It had been almost 2 years. He had never waited so long for anyone. On Wudong Street, those artists who loved art would still set up canopies to paint even if it was raining heavily. They said that the inspiration at that time would bring about unexpected gains. When it rained, he also went there to set up a canopy and set up an easel. When the rain fell like a pillar, it splashed high up, and the color of his pants that he always liked would be dirty. He would never forget that time when she ran over with an umbrella and wiped the mist from her face. "Oh my God, I just wanted to see if you came. I didn't expect you to really. Hey, it's raining so heavily. I made an appointment to come and get the paintings today. I'm sorry. I didn't wait for you to come and get the paintings. I still have to make money, so I'll be here every day." In fact, he had already told her that he would be there every day. There, waiting for her. As he waited, the paintings were gone. As he waited, even the paintings were gone. "Go and get some water." Shi Jintian couldn't take it anymore. In the end, he didn't continue to harden his heart. He hardened his heart, but he couldn't block out Yunwa's grief from his ears. He couldn't stand Yunwa's painful crying as he put out the fire. He muttered to himself, repeatedly asking himself, "What should I do? What should I do? The paintings are gone. What should I do? No. No. It'll all be ruined if I splash water on it. No." In the end, Shi Jintian could only compromise. The glass was placed on the solid wood counter, making a soft muffled sound. Jiang Zhao was only worried that Xia Qian would hook up with Yi Er once her driver's license was released. He didn't stop Yi Er from being friends with Xia Qian, but he had to consider Yi Er's safety. "I was the one who told Xia Qian to retake her driver's license. Now her license has been revoked. The reason is that cheating is invalid. Even her examiner has punished her. Now you're telling me to forget about it? No, let her retake the test." Beauty novel, Hongcha 866. Chapter 555. Sigh. Zhuang Yichen shook his head. He let go of the bar counter and flipped over to lean against it. He looked at Jiang Zhao and said helplessly, "Xia Qian said that she would never let Yi Er sit in her car again. She personally promised her sister. She also said." Zhuang Yichen paused and suddenly burst into laughter. Jiang Zhao was confused and asked, "What else did she say?" She also said. Zhuang Yichen took a sip of wine and swallowed it down his throat. He smacked his lips and said, she said that if Yunyi shamelessly begged to sit in her car, she would take a stick and break Yunyi's legs. Ha! Zhuang Yichen laughed again. He didn't hear this from Qiu Xiaoya. It was Qiu Xiaoya who had brought Xia Qian to him that day and made the promise in front of him. That day, Xia Qian looked very dispirited. She hung her head and looked like she had lost someone she loved. Think about it. You're happily out with your friends and you're chatting while driving. Suddenly, you get into an accident and your driver's license is taken away. How miserable is that? There's nothing more heartbreaking than having your license taken away on your first day on the road. Xiaoya nudged Xia Qian. Cut the crap. You're not out of love. Get to the point. Xia Qian pushed Qiu Xiaoya away and watched Zhuang Yichen walk up to him. She whispered sneakily, "Brother-in-law, please help me think of a way to get my driving license back. I really don't want to take the driving test anymore. I still want to study and work seriously. My time is really precious." Xiaoya didn't hear what Xia Qian was saying. She walked over impatiently and asked, "What did you say to my friend? What did you want?" Zhuang Yichen looked at Xia Qian and smiled. When he looked up at Xiaoya, he raised his eyebrows and asked curiously, "What did you say to your sister?" Xiaoya rolled her eyes at Xia Qian and reprimanded her in an exasperated tone. She insisted that I think of a solution for her. I told her that there was no solution, so she asked me to find someone to open the back door for her. I told her that you were my friend and that you might be able to help. However, it's fine if you don't want to help. Serves her right for provoking Jiang Zhao. She's lucky that he didn't make things difficult for her. Zhuang Yichen had been standing, but now he sat down and looked up at Xia Qian's sneaky expression. Qiu Xiaoya had no reason to tell others about their relationship, but she kept saying that their relationship was over. Why did she come to him for help again and again? Xia Qian's way of calling him a brother-in-law was interesting. Zhuang Yichen came back to his senses and looked at Jiang Zhao's gloomy face. Xia Qian's promise must have angered Jiang Zhao. He leaned his elbows on the bar counter and pushed his crystal glass towards Jiang Zhao's glass with his right hand. When they touched, he said, "Brother Zhao, do me a favor." "Who told you to investigate my private affairs? Wouldn't it be better if you didn't investigate me? If you didn't investigate me, I wouldn't have been able to find you for this. You're just looking for trouble." Jiang Zhao opened his glass and said, "Xia Qian's matter won't work. It's too dangerous. With her personality, she'll bring trouble to Yunyi sooner or later." As long as Zhuang Yichen asked Jiang Zhao for help, his attitude would be much better when there was no exchange of benefits. What can she do? I asked Qiu Xiaoya to buy her a new car with a high safety factor, and also found her a personal training partner. Driving was just a matter of driving on the road, and she would get used to it after a while. Even if she has a bad personality, she won't do anything. Yichen, then you owe me a favor. Yes, I'll remember it. Don't worry. I know how to pay back a favor. Jiang Zhao pushed his glass over and touched Zhuang Yichen's glass. The two of them raised their glasses and drank it in one gulp. Yi Er parked the car. There was a bag and a jacket on the passenger seat. He put on the jacket, grabbed the bag, pulled out the car key, and pushed the door open. Yi Er had just gotten out of the air-conditioned car, so it was a little cold. The cold fog and the chilly morning wind drilled into her neck, making her hair stand on end. She shrunk her neck and pulled the zipper on her thin jacket. The breath that he exhaled appeared very white in the misty morning, like a cloud. There was another person who stood on the balcony outside Xi Empire's CEO's office. He exhaled like he was exhaling a cloud. He reached out and gripped the air until the air that came out of his lungs dissipated. His hand hung in midair. His fingers were long and slender, but they were not as white as the skin on his face. They were mottled with pink spots like newly grown flesh. Anan knocked on the glass door. Unwoo turned around and nodded at her. Anan pulled open the glass door and walked to Unwoo. "Brother Yu, we've got the land at room 326. It was cheap, the lowest price in history. Thank you for your hard work." Unwoo smiled with relief. Anan was normally a cold person. When she saw the smile on Yunwoo's face, she sighed internally. Then she smiled along with Unwoo, and her eyes lit up. "Brother Yu, Grandpa still doesn't know about this, should we inform him?" "There's no need for that. Grandpa will only let me do whatever I want. By the way, how's the deal with the expert going? Don't leave any loose ends." Unwoo rarely frowned, but if he did, it meant that he was serious. Anan shrugged. "Don't worry, we've given him both dates and slaps, nothing will happen. What's next after we get the land? If we're going to put on a show, we'll tell the public that we're going to build a coding factory. Then, we'll find a suitable opportunity to invite an authoritative organization to conduct a test. We'll tell them how different the underground water is and how precious it is. We'll hire an expert to do these things. When the reward comes out, we'll build a large-scale hotel. Okay, I'll arrange it now." Anan turned around and walked to the glass door. Then, she turned around again. "Brother Yu, I want to treat you to dinner tonight, okay?" "Ha!" Unwoo smiled, and his face was as soft as the lake water in early spring. "Okay, I remember that today is Anan's birthday, right?" Anan bit her lower lip lightly, and her face suddenly flushed red. She immediately turned her face away. "Okay, let's go together after work." "Okay." Unwoo shook his head as he watched Anan run away. He muttered, "Even Anan is a year older." Yi Er's bag size was large. She was tall, and carrying such a bag was very stylish. Moreover, she had to go to high school, so it was not a problem for her to carry some books. There was no lack of peers in the high school class, which made up for a lot of regrets in Yi Er's heart. Ever since she started school, she was obviously happier than before, even though she had only been in class for a few days. The seats in the class were random. Those who arrived early would get a better seat. Yi Er drove herself. Since there was nothing going on at home, she always arrived early. After she picked a seat, the empty seats around her could be filled up quickly. Moreover, it was a group of boys. Yi Er and Jiang Zhao did not hold a grand wedding. They were considered low-key among the wealthy. Even if people knew about Jiang Zhao, they might not be interested in his wife, especially the commoners. There was no one in this class who was born into a wealthy family. Moreover, she had not attended any public events with Jiang Zhao. It was normal for people who did not care about the people's lives to not know her. A bunch of boys wanted to make their presence known around her. There were even some who wanted to show off their muscles in the middle of winter. Forget it. Anyway, they wanted to show off their muscles. She was not the one who caught a cold, so she could not be bothered to look at them. Jiang Zhao was a man who looked muscular when he took off his clothes, but skinny when he put on clothes. She probably could not find such a good breed in this class. He was not good enough for her. The trouble was that some young men liked to use very romantic methods to woo her. There was no lack of sons of nouveau riche in this class. For example, there was one who had a family of a few million yuan and thought that he was rich. The cool boy had dyed his hair a flamboyant yellow. His hair was not very short, and when it moved, it looked like there was a hedgehog moving on his head. His ears were pierced with earrings. Suddenly, he sat down beside Yi Er. He leaned his hand in front of Yi Er's face and greeted her, "Hi, beauty." Yi Er also waved her hand. "Hi, classmate." Ah. The boy seemed a little disappointed by Yi Er's reaction. His hand was still moving around on Yi Er's desk like a snake. Beauty, are you free? Let's have lunch together. We can drive there. Yi Er frowned. The smile on her face was a little dry. Classmate, that hand was still waving in front of Yi Er's face. Yi Er was a little annoyed. Classmate, the tattoo on your arm is a little scary. Is it? The boy swallowed his saliva and blushed. He reached out his other hand and touched the platinum chain on his wrist. He kept looking at the chain and said, I think it's okay. It's not scary. Yi Er wanted to vomit blood. Do you have to be so obvious? Will you die if you don't? Look at that Louis Vuitton wallet on your butt. Do you have to deliberately show a big part of it? Seeing that Yi Er was still not asking, the cool boy asked shamelessly, what do you think of this winter's new collection? Does it look good? It's not bad. Yi Er took out a book from her bag and placed it on the table. She pushed it away and deliberately took out another book and spread it open. She wanted to fill up the table and get rid of that non-mainstream hand. In the end, the cool boy diligently helped Yi Er tidy up the messy books on the table. He folded them neatly and said, you don't have to take them all out. There aren't that many classes. If you think it's not bad, I'll give you this chain. Yi Er shook her head. It's too expensive. I don't want it. What's the big deal? It's just a Cartier. If you like it, I'll buy a female one for you tomorrow. Some people around them couldn't stand it anymore, especially when there was such a big gap between the rich and the poor in the class. You won't bring fake goods tomorrow, right? Fake your ass. The cool boy immediately stood up and made a face that said, are you King asking for a beating? He glared at the boy sitting to Yi Er's left. Yi Er coughed. I don't want this kind of thing. Don't waste your money. I don't like it. You don't like it? The cool boy looked at Yi Er in disbelief. Yi Er thought in her heart. What are you looking at? I'm also wearing branded clothes. It's just that I'm wearing custom-made clothes. But since they were classmates, it's better to be friendly. If this happened in high school, she wouldn't care. She would rather have a fight. But it's different now. If things get out of hand, people might say, 2 19-year-old boys fought over the mayor's wife. This kind of news headline will be devastating. She doesn't want to provoke Jiang Zhao. In the afternoon, Yi Er went to the cafeteria alone for lunch. In the afternoon, the cool boy didn't come to class. Yi Er felt that things had calmed down. But when school ended, Yi Er was blocked at the school gate. The cool boy was carrying a bouquet of lilies and wanted Yi Er to accept it. Attention, Songshu 566. Chapter 556. You're not giving me face. Beauty, how about we have a candlelight dinner tonight? I'll take you to an Italian restaurant. The cool boy refused to believe that Yi Er could not get a beauty with money. He could get her just by eating and gifting her branded goods. Phew. Yi Er exhaled. She heard the alarm on her phone in her bag. She took it out and sent a message to Xia Qian. Qian, I'm stuck at the entrance of my school. Hurry up and save me. Just as the message was successful, her phone was turned off. When Xia Qian received the message, her first reaction was to run downstairs. As she ran, she called Jiang Zhao. Jiang Zhao, Yi Er just sent me a message saying that she's stuck at the entrance of her school and asked me to save her. Her phone is turned off. I think this is serious. Where are you? As soon as Xia Qian finished speaking, she heard the ear-piercing sound of screeching brakes coming from the phone. Jiang Zhao's phone was still pressed against his ear. He heard Xia Qian panting as she ran. She sounded very anxious. Stuck in a traffic jam. It couldn't be a traffic jam. She definitely didn't need someone to save her. She was stuck in a traffic jam. Was that why she needed Xia Qian to save her? He tilted his head and held the phone. He glanced at the rearview mirror and stepped on the accelerator. He turned the steering wheel and quickly made a U-turn. Xia Qian, go look for security first or bring a few classmates over. I'll be right there. Xia Qian couldn't drive her car, but she didn't forget to remind Jiang Zhao. Jiang Zhao, I don't have a car now. My bike was taken away by my classmate. I'll run over now. Hurry up. You know how big the university town is. It'll take me a while to get there. Got it. I'll get someone to release your driver's license tomorrow. Hurry up and drive over. After Jiang Zhao finished speaking, he added, don't go too fast. Be careful not to hit someone. Okay. Xia Qian didn't drive. At this time, there were many people on the road. It was better to walk than drive. A newbie was most afraid of constantly changing gears and changing speed. She didn't need to look for security first. She would look for it outside Ye's school. That would save her time. She took the keys and the bike. She took it out and rushed out. Although Xia Qian was a smart person who would not forget to calculate her driver's license when her friend was in trouble, her chivalrous heart to save her friend from disaster did not diminish because of the benefits. She pedaled very quickly. The sun in winter was not as orange as it was in summer. But it was warm. Her hair was not coarse. It was very fine and not thick. Because of this, she always had a shoulder-length pear blossom hairstyle. Her permed hair was a little loose, making it look like she had more hair. As she pedaled the bicycle at high speed, her small shoulders shook from side to side. She seemed to be working very hard. Her medium-length hair was pulled up by the inertia of the wind, making her look like a beautiful superwoman. By the time Xia Qian rode her bike to the School of Business, it was as if she had gone through an intense physical training. Her back was drenched in sweat, and her face was red with sweat. She couldn't even breathe. He took off his jacket and threw it in the basket in front of the bike. There were a lot of people around the school gate. Everyone was talking. Yi was surrounded by the crowd. She didn't even have time to set up the bike. She threw it on the ground and rushed over. Xia Qian was angry. Damn it. She transformed into a beautiful female warrior and rushed from the north gate to the south gate of the university. Did she come just to see a boy with a strange temperament give Yi lilies? He even knelt on one knee. The boy made Xia Qian think, $15 for a hair dryer. But at least he was male. He didn't look like a coward. Damn you, Yun Yi. You damn woman. We're friends. Do you have to be so obvious? Will you die if you don't show off? It's fine if you show off to others. But you deliberately sent me a message to force me to see you show off. Don't you know that I've never received flowers? Don't you know that I don't have a boyfriend? Xia Qian was an idiot. Her actions and thoughts were different from ordinary people. He forgot that what he should be doing now was to save Yi. He started to touch his own face. Baby fat. I don't think so. She touched her waist. Bucket waist? I don't think so. She touched her butt. Not perky. I think it's a little perky. She touched her legs. Not long. She's only this tall. Her proportions are okay. Finally, she touched her chest. She finally found the crux of the problem. She shrugged her shoulders like a defeated rooster. Sigh, it's too flat. She doesn't even tremble when she runs without a bra. He really envied those women who ran with a pile of waves in front of their chests, trembling violently. Sigh, she thought of those women in commercials on TV. Why did those women with F breasts have to wear low-cut clothes? How could those girls with A breasts endure it? Yi Er saw Xia Qian and heaved a sigh of relief. It was as if he had seen his savior. Qian Qian. Xia Qian glared at Yi Er. Call me your sister. How many days have you been in the university? You've only been here for a few days and someone is already giving you flowers. I've been here for a few years. How dare you accept flowers after a few days? If you dare, I'll break off our friendship. You really made bad friends. What a blow. Yi Er was stunned. That's not right. Shouldn't Xia Qian be glaring at the non-mainstream? Xia Qian. Your sister is in trouble now. Instead of coming to help, you're tidying up your appearance. Are you crazy? Xia Qian looked at Yi Er's pleading face. For the sake of her driving license, she had to endure it. She questioned Yi Er angrily, what are you still doing here? Hurry up and go back. Your husband is looking for you. Yi Er wanted to kick Xia Qian. Couldn't she be nicer? He whispered, did you eat gunpowder? I get hot when I see you. Xia Qian felt that she needed to put out the fire. Husband. But it didn't matter. He wasn't afraid. What young people needed was to be hot-blooded, impulsive, persistent, and daring to love and hate. As long as they had their eyes on something, they would fight for it even if the King of Heaven were to come. How exciting would that be? Young people needed to be hot-blooded, impulsive, stubborn, persevering, daring to love and hate. As long as they had their eyes on something, they would fight for it even if the King of Heaven came. Just thinking about it made his blood boil. It's okay. We're all eating together. What? Yi Er and Xia Qian looked at the cool boy in a daze. Then they looked at each other and communicated with their eyes. Is he crazy? Actually, wash, cut, blow was not bad looking. It was just that he was dressed too strangely. His clothes and pants were all sparkling. It was a completely unconventional combination. The only thing missing was a sign that said, I'm a non-mainstream, or wash, cut, blow, 15 yuan. He was even kneeling on the ground with one knee and holding up the lilies with both hands. Yi Er asked with concern, Student, are you tired? Why don't you sit on the ground and rest? Then she would find a nail and pin it down. Wash, cut, blow, was delighted. Sit. The beauty was actually asking him to sit. It seemed like she was concerned about him. He wasn't afraid of being tired. He continued to maintain the posture that he felt gave him the best chance of winning. Will you accept it? Yi Er's eyes were as pure as a rabbit's. She gave a friendly but fake smile. No. Give it to someone else. No, you have to accept it. Otherwise, I won't let you leave. Xia Qian smiled as she bent down and leaned in front of the boy. She sniffed the fragrant lilies and enjoyed it very much. Student, why don't you give it to me? I quite like it. Wash, cut, blow looked at Xia Qian and his eyes lit up. Although she wasn't as tall as Yi Er and had a flat chest, she was quite good-looking. Just as he was about to hesitate, the surrounding crowd began to talk. Oh my God, it's Xia Qian. Yeah, the famous person in the university town. The one from the media school. Xia Qian's mouth twitched. Oh, right. She pushed a girl down in the garden and kissed her. The entire university town knows about the photo. It's so explosive. Yeah. That girl even posted a post complaining about what happened to her. She said that she was forced. Xia Qian stood up and sneered at the crowd. Shut up. You're slandering me. It caused her to have no suitors from junior high to university. Every time she met a woman, her reputation would be ruined. There was a boy in junior high who confessed to her. That was history that she would never forget. However, the next day, she was set up by a girl in her class. She was the one who was forced to kiss, but the photos that came out were all of her. They were even having sex in the grass. Moreover, that girl was recognized by the whole school as fat sis. Not only was she looked down on for having bad taste, the school even said that the physical and mental health of teenagers nowadays required psychological counseling. Because of her incident, the school even hired a psychologist for several months to teach the students about gender selection. From then on, not a single boy dared to pursue her. Even the boys who had confessed to her avoided her when they saw her. That was fine. It wasn't easy for her to endure until she graduated from high school. She thought about the beautiful university life that was coming. Dating was allowed in university. She, this withered tree, was finally going to experience spring. Who knew that she would encounter the same painful history as in junior high? She had just confessed to a boy, but the next day, she was forced to kiss again. It was an ugly girl who cried and complained that she was the one who forced herself on her. Following that, the school forum posted her criminal record in junior high. Criminal record. When he was in junior high school, he forcefully kissed an ugly girl and pressed her into the grass. When he was in university, pressing an ugly girl into a flower bush and forcefully kissing her shouldn't be something unacceptable. Therefore, she could only fantasize about handsome men. She could see them, but not touch them. Sigh, a woman who didn't have her first kiss. How sad and unlucky. Anyway, no boy dared to pursue her. Even if she saw a handsome man with a heart, he would tremble. It didn't matter if she thought about it. Anyway, university was coming to an end. When she got a job in the future, she would be completely innocent. Yi Er knew about Xia Qian's history, so he didn't have much of a reaction. When the kneeling man heard Xia Qian's history, he immediately dispelled his impulse to woo her. He said firmly, "I only like Yi Er." He then placed the hesitant lilies in front of Yi Er. If Yi Er moved to the left, he would move the flowers to the left. If Yi Er moved to the right, he would move to the right. If Yi Er moved to the left, he would chase after him and kneel down again. Yi Er was entangled like this and couldn't get away. If there weren't so many people watching, she would have found a brick and thrown it at him. My name is Deng Chao. I'm 19 years old. I live in the south. Deng Chao, who had a unique aura, said stubbornly. He raised his eyebrows and looked at the people around him with a smug look. The south was a rich area. Deng Chao, I'll accept it on behalf of Yi Er. Xia Qian thought that it would be good to put the flowers in a vase. Yi Er added, Deng Chao, go buy another bouquet for Qian Qian. She likes to be in a sea of flowers. Xia Qian immediately hooked her arm around Yi Er's arm. They were like sisters. Not bad. Come and see, Xinwu 799. Chapter 557. With Xia Qian around, Yi Er was not as nervous as before. After all, Xia Qian was a witness. Whenever she took a step forward, Xia Qian would chase after her and stop her. She refused. Otherwise, they would have to fight. Ever since she was almost stabbed to death by a hooligan, she did not dare to pick a fight. Hey, Deng Chao, why don't you get up and let Qian Qian accompany you to eat Italian food? My husband doesn't like Italian food. The crowd burst into laughter. Xia Qian's eyes lit up as she looked at Deng Chao. Italian food. I want the most expensive one. She acted as if he was going to have a meal with her. The crowd burst into laughter again. Yi Er, I like you. Take the flowers and let's go for Italian food. You can bring your boyfriend along. It's my treat. I'll make him back off. Pft. Pft. Xia Qian held on to Yi Er and also spat at herself. Young man, it's not that I want to chide you, but it's not right for you to do this. Jiang Zhao was very tall. When he walked briskly towards the crowd, Xia Qian saw him. She jumped up and waved at Jiang Zhao. Over here. Yi Er looked up and saw her too. She stomped her foot. It's over. Xia Qian, you traitor. If anything happens to me today, I won't let you off even if I become a ghost. Xia Qian said, I don't want to let you off either. Jiang Zhao pushed through the crowd and saw the so-called blockage. It was really blockage and annoying. Xia Qian looked at Jiang Zhao and scratched her head. I'm sorry. I didn't know she wanted me to come over to deal with this. If I had known, I wouldn't have asked you to come over. I can handle it myself. After that, she looked down at Deng Chao, who was getting more and more arrogant. She reached out her leg and nudged his knee. Look at him. Back off in the face of difficulties is tailor-made for you. When Deng Chao saw Jiang Zhao, he was obviously stunned. Yi Er's husband. A child who did not care about politics would not know how the mayor looked like after he published the newspaper. But he was so handsome. Where did he get this celebrity from? I didn't accept it. Yi Er looked at Jiang Zhao innocently. Jiang. Deputy Mayor. That's right, that's right. He's more handsome than on TV and in the newspapers. It's in the winter. When Deng Chao heard from the crowd that this person was the deputy mayor, he could not believe it. He never read newspapers or news. He only watched the entertainment programs on the various channels. He knew Xian Bin, Xing Yuanchang, He Jiong, Happy Base Camp, and even Kangxi was here. However, he didn't know what time Haiqing News simulcast started and ended. He also didn't know the name of Haiqing's party secretary. He knew there was a very handsome deputy mayor called Jiang Zhao, but he was forced to do so by the girls in his class. The girls were crazy about him, but he was not. She looked at Jiang Zhao for a while before she came back to her senses. It was true. This time, he was in big trouble. Thank you. It's a nice flower. Jiang Zhao took the flowers from the boy and asked casually, Are you my wife's classmates? Jiang Zhao was too polite, so Deng Chao could only reply indifferently. Then let's have dinner together. It's time for dinner. Yi Er felt dizzy and said softly, Ah Zhao. Jiang Zhao held Yi Er's hand gently and looked at her. You are too much. As he spoke, he placed the flowers in Yi Er's hands. His long arms wrapped around her shoulders and his large hands caressed her round shoulders. I even told you to keep a low profile in case someone gives us a wedding gift. You just can't control your mouth. Deng Chao was speechless. Those gifts were not for the both of you. They were for Yi Er alone. But it was a stressful thing to see a handsome man standing in front of her. There were a lot of girls who were smitten by Feng Yu. Look at that handsome man. His eyes were full of love, his eyes were full of love, his smile was full of love, and his gentlemanly demeanor. It was really mesmerizing. The mayor was really good at reading people's feelings. Xia Qian was about to go crazy. Yun Yi. Our grudge has been sowed. You are such a cunning woman. After showing off your suitor, you show off your husband. So what if you have a husband? What's the big deal? Hey, look at this sour feeling, so hateful. For the sake of my driving license, I will bear with it. You have a husband, and I have a car. Humph. Fine. You also have a car. Although your car is slightly better than mine, but your car was bought by your husband. You are living off a woman. I look down on women like you who live off women and don't have any real ability. Fine. My car was also bought with my sister's money. Look up at the sky. Oh, God. We are both living off a woman, but why is there such a big difference? When will you open your eyes and see how unfair this world is? Where are my peach blossoms? Give me back my peach blossoms. Jiang Zhao stood in front of Deng Chao. Although he looked as gentlemanly and elegant as he appeared in front of the media, there was an inexplicable aura in his smile. Especially when he looked at Deng Chao, it was as if a sword could shoot out from his smiling eyes. Deng Chao shivered. They are really married. He took another look at Jiang Zhao and immediately looked away. Is this mayor trying to kill someone? You. Jiang Zhao held Year in one hand and extended his other hand to Deng Chao. He put his 4 fingers together and separated his thumbs. He introduced himself, Jiang Zhao, Yun Year's legal husband. We registered our marriage on National Day this year. May I know your name? This time, Deng Chao could tell that Jiang Zhao was hiding a dagger behind his smile. He gave himself some encouragement and stretched out his hand. Deng Chao. Jiang Zhao looked at Deng Chao with a smile and said, "Thank you for the lilies you gave us. Although Yi didn't announce our marriage to the public, I will take some time to invite her classmates to have a meal together. Mr. Deng, you must come. I want to thank you for your kindness." Deng Chao shook off Jiang Zhao's hand and said, "Those lilies are for Yi." Jiang Zhao stood in front of so many people and said, "It's the same. Husband and wife are one. I got to thank you for giving those lilies to her." A pretty girl clapped her hands. "Mayor Jiang is so generous. You and the mayor's wife are so affectionate. Thank you. Thank you." Jiang Zhao nodded and thanked them. But in his heart, he was scolding them. He was a politician, but why are they behaving like those in the entertainment industry? All of them need to be taught a lesson. Good bearing. He was not so generous. He wished he was a member of the triad now. He wanted to teach this guy a lesson. The 3 of them entered the car, and Jiang Zhao turned to Xia Qian. "Xia Qian, thank you for telling me about Yi's news. I will treat you to a meal." Jiang Zhao dragged out the words, "as soon as possible." When he finished speaking, he looked meaningfully at Yi, who was sitting beside Xia Qian. Yi felt a little creeped out by his stare. First, she knew she would die a horrible death today. She wondered if she would die without a corpse. Xia Qian said that they must eat good and expensive food to show Jiang Zhao's status. Jiang Zhao said, "How about Sea Moon Restaurant?" Xia Qian said, "That's a good idea." Then she sighed and said, "I feel like going to work today." Jiang Zhao did not show any signs of wanting to skin Yi alive. This calmness made Yi feel uneasy. But when she thought about what Jiang Zhao said at the entrance of the school, she felt so happy. His gaze was so memorable. Yi was completely engulfed in happiness. Her husband was such a good person, and her mood gradually improved. She sat in the back seat and hooked her arm around Xia Qian's. Qian, you're so good to me. You came just like that. I have no regrets in this life to have a confidant like you." Jiang Zhao listened to Yi chatting with Xia Qian and Yi. He took out his phone and typed a text. University Town's business school opened a second class this year. Deng Chao. His family information has been found. His demeanor. His bearing. That would not be used when other people were coveting his wife. Although he was just a kid, kids were the ones who were annoying. He pestered him every day. How could he let him go to work? Some of the things that were out of line these days were all caused by these kids who did not know their limits. They did whatever they wanted. The key was that provocative gaze. He felt that such a person should not be left by Yi Er's side. Sooner or later, something would happen. Did he think he could fly just because he had some money? Did he think he could touch any woman he wanted? Not to mention that Yi Er was his wife now, even before they were married, it was impossible. She was just attending school. Why did she cause so much trouble? How many days had it been? Was she that attractive? It couldn't be, right? She wasn't that good-looking, right? She was just a so-so, right? He raised his eyebrows and looked at the rearview mirror. The two girls were fighting and playing. His heart skipped a beat. Little kids. When the word little kid popped out again, he was stunned. That's right. She was a little kid. Deng Chao was also a little kid. Two little kids. Did they have a common language? Xia Qian pushed Yi Er away and said disdainfully, "Good my ass. So what if you have people chasing you? You want to show me? I don't owe you money, right?" Yi Er looked at Xia Qian for a few seconds and laughed out loud. "That's right. Who asked you to owe me money? Since you didn't pay me back, I can only make you unhappy. You haven't received such a big bouquet of flowers, right? Isn't it very fragrant? Isn't it very beautiful? Has anyone ever knelt before you before? Qian, hurry up and pay me back. After you pay me back, I won't treat you like this anymore." Xia Qian huffed and puffed. Oh, this damned woman. She dug a hole for her and she really jumped into it. Shameless. Yi Er was taller than Xia Qian, but at this moment, he leaned on Xia Qian's shoulder and chuckled. How can I hang out with you if I'm shameless? If I hang out with you if I'm shameless, I'll be at a disadvantage. How about it? You owe me such a big sum of money. Do you want to calculate the interest? Interest? I've already paid back all my debts today. Xia Qian glanced at Jiang Zhao, who was driving, and kept silent. She raised her voice and said to Yi Er, if I was late today, would you have accepted the flowers? Would you have gone to eat Italian food with that guy? Luckily, I was there in time. You looked so smug at the time. It looked like you were about to run away with him. Have you never seen flowers or that kind of guy before? When did your taste become so unique? Come and see Xinwu 799. Chapter 558. Hey. Xia Qian, what are you talking about? Yi Er's face changed. She quickly glanced at the man in front, who was holding the steering wheel, and covered Xia Qian's mouth. What are you talking about? That's why I texted you to help me out. You saw it too. He was kneeling on the ground and refused to get up. I chased after him. Xia Qian shook her head and said, that's why I found it strange. You're so tall and strong. You could have just kicked him over. Why did you let him express his love for you? You're just vain. You just wanted to show off in front of me. But you didn't expect that I would call your husband over when I was worried. That's why you quickly restrained yourself, right? You even said that if anything happens to you today, you will haunt me even after I become a ghost. I just can't stand women like you who are greedy. Xia Qian knew Yi Er would not kick that hairdryer over. She would have kicked that hairdryer over when she had no status. But now, she was the mayor's wife. How could she do such an inappropriate thing? She had no choice but to ask her to go over. But since she despised her for not receiving any flowers and no one had pursued her before, she will make sure that something bad happens to her today. Ha ha ha. But why did Jiang Zhao not have any reaction? Shouldn't he step on the brakes? Should he turn around and roar at her? Is this how a husband should react? While driving, Jiang Zhao looked at the text message on his phone. Deng Chao, 19 years old. Ancestral home in Wuxian, Haiqing. His father owns 2 leather factories with a total of 1,000 workers. They produce luggage, leather shoes, belts and other goods. There is a 200 square meter property in the south of Haiqing. There is a villa in the suburbs. Wu County. Jiang Zhao finished reading the messages. Sure enough, he was chasing after women just because he was rich. When he told Yi Er that she was his wife, the brat still dared to say that the flowers were for Yi Er. He still wants to go against me. There was a bit of a traffic jam at this time, so it was a good time to write a text message. Check taxes, check accounts, check fire protection, check employee overtime wages and labor contracts. Thinking about it, he had also used this method to deal with Yi Er's friend, Xingling, to make her retreat. But it was a coincidence that they were both businessmen. After sending the message, Dong Xuebing replied. Okay. I will do it now. Yi Er pinched Xia Qian. Xia Qian, you have to be responsible for what you say. When did I eat from the pot and look at the bowl? Xia Qian cried out in pain. Ah, I told you the truth. Are you trying to kill me to silence me? Yi Er naturally did not silence her. She got up from her seat and stood face to face with Xia Qian, blocking Jiang Zhao's line of sight. She reached out her demonic claws, grabbed Xia Qian's breasts and squeezed hard. Xia Qian was in so much pain that she wanted to scream, but she did not dare to. I will take my revenge. Yi Er sneered. I am helping you. Didn't you always complain that your breasts are too small? I will pinch and make them swollen. Xia Qian wanted to take revenge, but she did not dare to hit Jiang Zhao's wife in the car. The reason was simple. She still had not gotten her driver's license. Even if she had gotten her driver's license, she could not afford to offend her. Xia Qian suddenly realized that her driver's license was in jeopardy. What's so great about the mayor? Humph. I will find a governor and trample him to death. Forget it. The governor is too old. He should be around Jiang Zhao's age. Fine. This girl without a boyfriend is starting to think about handsome guys. It's sad. No. My breasts are exquisite. You don't understand. Xia Qian was thinking. Will it really hurt if I pinch them? If I pinch one of them, will there be a big one and a small one? Damn Yunyi. Why don't you pinch both of them? Ha ha ha. So exquisite. Yi Er laughed. Jiang Zhao brought Yi Er and Xia Qian to Highway restaurant. When they entered, the head waiter immediately came over to receive them. Jiang Zhao greeted him. Xia Qian is the one who recommended us. She will get the commission. We will be having our meal here today. Xia Qian lowered her head proudly and pretended to be reserved. The head waiter was giving face to the mayor, and the meaning behind his words was clear. No problem. They walked towards the lift. Mayor Jiang. Jiang Zhao stopped in his tracks and turned around. The smile on his face widened, and his voice sounded magnanimous and hearty. Hello, Mr. Shen. As he spoke, he strode back, appearing very enthusiastic. Shen Kai also walked over and shook hands with Jiang Zhao almost at the same time. Ha ha ha. Mayor Jiang, you are also having your meal here today. Yes. What about you? Both of them let go of their hands. Oh, I am alone. When he saw the two women behind Jiang Zhao, Xia Qian naturally caught his attention. He smiled and recommended to Jiang Zhao. Haiyue Restaurant's egg fried rice is not bad. The loofah soup and kelp are also not bad. You should try it. Xia Qian almost vomited blood. Those who block my path to wealth die. Even if you are handsome, you are not an exception. There will be no mercy. Jiang Zhao and Shen Kai had known each other since they were young. They were also in the same batch in university. In the past, when Shen Kai was pursuing Ouyang Yan, his relationship with Jiang Zhao was not that bad. Shen Kai once treated Jiang Zhao to a drink, and both of them had a fight. Shen Kai said that he could not bear to see Jiang Zhao being so arrogant. He felt that Jiang Zhao was not someone who could be snatched away from him. No one could snatch Ouyang Yan away from him. Ouyang Yan's attitude was the same as Jiang Zhao's. She was still eating and drinking with her love rival. It was as if she was telling everyone in Haiyue University that the man belonged to her, Ouyang Yan. No matter how much you look forward to it, he will never be yours. Both of them were equally arrogant. Even if many people wanted to break them up, they had to spread their stories. They were a match made in heaven. Both of them were from powerful families. One of them was from a wealthy family, and the other was from a powerful family in both politics and business. Ouyang Yan would not lose to Jiang Zhao in any exams. The number of degrees Jiang Zhao had, Ouyang Yan would also have the same number of degrees. Both of them could always work together. They were both arrogant and disdainful of others. The reason for their disdain was because they had set their sights on each other. They were a match made in heaven. But even so, looking at the people behind Jiang Zhao, you would believe that nothing in this world could last forever. Nothing could last forever. So, it was better not to think that anything could last forever. Because if you had such thoughts, when eternity finally broke, you would only feel that the heavens were always playing tricks on you. Shen Kai whispered to Jiang Zhao, "Your wife is very beautiful. You definitely won't say that she's not beautiful, haha." Jiang Zhao waved his hand and patted Shen Kai's back. "Let's eat together. You'll be alone anyway." Of course. Shen Kai was a straightforward person, so he agreed right away. Yi Er originally wanted to bare her fangs and brandish her claws at Xia Qian, but when she saw Jiang Zhao's colleagues, she could only put away her restless thoughts and only dared to make some small moves. Shen Kai was also a very observant person. Yi Er's small moves did not escape his eyes. He was puzzled. When did Jiang Zhao like this kind of woman? Was it just because she was young and beautiful? Although Ouyang Yan was a few years older than Yunyi, she took good care of herself and looked very young. She also had a much better temperament than Yunyi. Ouyang Yan looked like a woman who knew a lot of things. Didn't Jiang Zhao like that? Although today's commission was Xia Qian's, she did not work overtime today, so there were other people serving her. The few of them sat down and started to order. Xia Qian refused to hand the menu to Shen Kai. After a few words, Shen Kai understood what she meant. He did not say anything. He was not the host today. Xia Qian found it strange. Why didn't this guy order today? She was worried that he would order. Shen Kai placed one hand on the table and sat casually. He was a casual person. As long as he was not eating with a very important superior, he would be like this. The two men's suits had already been hung up. Yi Er watched the two men chat from time to time. They dressed in the same way. Probably because they worked in the government, Jiang Zhao looked very righteous. She knew that Jiang Zhao had always been like this outside. Although Shinkai was also wearing a shirt and a collared sweater, she did not know if it was an illusion, but she always felt that Shinkai was a little bad. She always thought that the men who worked in the government were all like Jiang Zhao. They were beasts outside and beasts when they took off their clothes at home. In the end, there were people like Shinkai. Other than the rigid court uniform, he always gave people the impression that he was not a kind person. Did he not know how to hide himself like Jiang Zhao? Jiang Zhao and Shinkai sat together, while Yi Er and Xia Qian sat across from each other at the round table. This way, they were very far away. However, Jiang Zhao was a male chauvinist, so Yi Er didn't mind. She kept a distance from him and chatted with Xia Qian while eating. The private rooms in Haiyue restaurant were very big. Xia Qian wanted to take advantage of Jiang Zhao again, so she insisted on ordering the largest private room. The large private room had a minimum charge, so her commission was high. However, this way, the table was very big. Moreover, there was music in the private room, so Xia Qian and Yi Er could not hear them clearly. When Xia Qian lowered her head to eat, she looked up and glanced at Shinkai. She said to Yi Er, "Why does Jiang Zhao have friends like this? Wu Jiu and the other. They're colleagues." Xia Qian snorted unhappily. Yi Er sniffled. "You're so weird. Did they provoke you?" Xia Qian thought to herself that she should just forget it. She should not provoke this man at this table. If he wanted to take revenge in the future and specially came to her place of work to order egg fried rice, she would go crazy. "I was just humming. You're so nosy." However, she was a little unhappy, so she said, "You know how to order good food when you're eating others, but you're so stingy when you're eating yourself." Although the table was big, Shinkai heard this sentence clearly. He raised his eyebrows and found it funny when Xia Qian lowered her head to talk bad about him behind his back. "Miss Xia, who are you talking about?" Xia Qian looked up. "Nobody. I was just saying. Why do I feel like you're talking about me?" Yi Er and Jiang Zhao looked at each other, indicating that they did not understand. Xia Qian felt that she was here to spend money today, so her level was different. She felt that it was not good to mention his name. "If you insist on blaming yourself, then there's nothing I can do." "Oh, so you're not talking about me. No wonder I couldn't remember. You should eat more today. Anyway, you won't treat me back if I ask you. Come and see." Hongcha 866. Chapter 559. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by "I will not treat you back"? Shinkai said calmly. "Then the next time you treat Mayor Jiang and Mrs. Jiang to a meal at Haiyue restaurant, remember to invite me. I need to be your witness. If not, I will not believe that a stingy person like you will do such a thing." Xia Qian froze. Oh God, this bastard had seen through her. He knew that she was stingy. But why must it be Haiyue restaurant? Does he want her to go bankrupt? Why do I need you to be my witness? Do I want you to come over and watch us eat? If Miss Xia can treat Mrs. Jiang and Mrs. Jiang to a meal, she must be a generous person. Do you mind having an extra pair of chopsticks? I mind. Shinkai laughed shamelessly. I don't mind basking in Mayor Jiang and Mrs. Jiang's glory. I can also fill my stomach. Xia Qian really wanted to scold him. Facing such a shameless man, how could she be so wrong that she didn't even dare to say F***ck or your sister? It was all Jiang Zhao's fault. She was afraid of this man who worked for the government. He always used his authority to create trouble for her. She could not afford to get hurt. Her sister had taught her not to mess with the rich and powerful. Now, there were a bunch of new rich and powerful people in High City. They were all from wealthy families and should not be messed with. Luckily, this matter did not get out of hand. If it got out of hand, no one would be able to save her. No matter how stupid she was, she still knew what was at stake. To prevent herself from scolding, Xia Qian turned to look for trouble with Yi Er. Look at your husband treating me to a meal. He had said that he would treat me, but he still wants to include me. This meal does not count. Yi Er rolled her eyes at Xia Qian. Dream on. Next time, you still want to cheat my husband. Dream on. I will treat you next time. I don't want you to treat me. I want Jiang Zhao to treat me. You are such a stingy person. You will not treat me more than 200 renminbi. You dare to call me a stingy person? Every time you treat me to a meal, it will not be more than 50 renminbi. Are you the same as me? I don't have a boyfriend, a husband, a job, or money. Yi Er smiled mysteriously. There's still something you don't have. What? Yi Er placed her hands on Xia Qian's shoulders and pressed her down under the table. The tablecloth was very long, and the two women's heads were exposed. Xia Qian cooperatively bent down and asked again in a low voice, "Do I have anything else?" Yi Er reached out and grabbed Xia Qian's breasts, squeezing them hard. You have no breasts. So, I'll help you make it bigger. Xia Qian almost flipped the table, but she didn't dare to cry out in pain. Yinyi, can't you change it? When the time comes, my shoulder will tilt. Ha! Yi Er covered her mouth and whispered into Xia Qian's ear, I'm good now. And don't worry, I'll squeeze you 10 more times and your shoulders won't tilt. Because you're not an A, you're a. Ha! Xia Qian knew that she was small, but it wasn't to the extent of being concave, right? When did this Yinyi become so vicious? Actually, before Yi Er met Xia Qian and Xiaoya, she would never have randomly squeezed a girl's breasts like she was doing now. But the first time she met Xiaoya, Xiaoya had squeezed her breasts. After that, she became more daring. The more she played, the more familiar she became. And the more familiar she became, the less she took it seriously. Jiang Zhao watched as Yi Er happily pushed Xia Qian back and forth. The two of them were mumbling something to each other, and the corners of his mouth lifted. Children will always be children. She can throw a tantrum anywhere. Let her throw a tantrum. Otherwise, she'll cry and complain that she has depression, that she's going to suffocate to death, that she's going to commit suicide, that if she dies, he'll lose his wife, and all sorts of inauspicious things. Seeing how happy she was now, it was impossible for her to have depression. Shen Kai looked at Yi Er and Xia Qian, who were sitting opposite them. He didn't know what they were laughing about. Yinyi looked like a lady from a wealthy family, but she kept hitting Xia Qian under the table. Jiang Zhao had been in a relationship with a woman like Ouyang Yan. How could he tolerate it? He turned and saw Jiang Zhao looking at Yi Er with a smile on his face. Jiang Zhao. Shen Kai had not addressed Jiang Zhao as mayor ever since he entered the private room. Jiang Zhao regained his senses. He didn't mind Shen Kai addressing him this way. Shen Kai, what is it? After Yi Er and Xia Qian were done fooling around, they turned around and saw Jiang Zhao slowly picking up the white jade wine cup in front of him. As he listened to Shen Kai speak, his expression became more and more serious. The cup in his hand touched Shen Kai's cup lightly, and the two of them drank slowly. When the wine reached their lips, they smacked their lips and furrowed their brows. Yi Er was a little worried. Especially when she saw Jiang Zhao keeping his mouth shut and straightening his back. He took a deep breath and slowly let it out through his nose. Then he slowly lowered his shoulders. Although his movements were small, she could tell that Shen Kai was talking about something important. But his voice was too soft. It was not as loud as the music in the private room. After dinner, Yi Er said that she would drive Shinkai and Xia Qian back first. Shinkai stood in front of Haiyu restaurant and wore his old-fashioned suit from the procuratorate. But he unbuttoned his suit, revealing his V-neck sweater. He pulled up his suit and put his hands in his pockets. He tilted his shoulders slightly and said to Yi Er, "Mrs. Jiang, please send Mayor Jiang back first. I did not drink tonight. I have been drinking mineral water. The one who drank is your husband. I can drive my car. I will help you send your friend back." Xia Qian wanted to object, but Jiang Zhao put his arm around Yi Er's shoulders and said to Shinkai, "Thank you, Inspector Shin. You are welcome." Xia Qian saw Jiang Zhao and did not dare to object. She wanted to ask Yi Er for help, but she noticed that Yi Er was focused on Jiang Zhao. She asked her husband if he was feeling unwell. Did he feel dizzy? Did he feel nauseous? Xia Qian was envious when she saw Yi Er helping Jiang Zhao into the car, starting the car and driving away. She wanted to drive like him one day. Xia Qian decided to make a big sacrifice today when Shinkai was not paying attention. She stepped back secretly and ran to the road. She wanted to take a taxi back to the university town. Although it would cost a few dozen RMB, she had no choice. Shinkai was handsome, but she would not think about those handsome guys she had offended before. She could think about them, but she could not get close to them. Although she had thought of begging God to return her peach blossoms to her, no matter how insensitive she was, she knew that handsome men might not necessarily be her peach blossoms. They might be her peach blossoms. Also, he might not be a suitor at all. If not, those tall and handsome male celebrities on TV would have already had an affair with her. Was it worth it for her to remain single? Therefore, although Shinkai was a man who was pleasing to the eye, he was also a petty man who was calculative in every aspect. He was a petty man who ate other people's cheers and ate his own heartache. Shinkai was definitely not a peach blossom. He was an oleander. The best way not to court death was to get out of here. Seeing the blue taxi with the green, empty car on the roof, she was so excited that she jumped up and down like a beautiful zombie in the middle of the night. She reached out and waved at the taxi. Screech, the brakes sounded. Just like Jiang Zhao's bus, a black Audi stopped in front of Xia Qian. Xia Qian looked at the car. She did not know if she could buy an Audi to drive when she became a host in the future. She did not want such an A6. If she wanted to buy one, she would buy the Q series. It was so beautiful. It must be very tasteful. How much money would it take for a host to buy a Q series car? How many years would it take? Was she going to take advantage of her sister again? That would not be good, right? She would feel bad asking her sister for money after she started working. It was okay. She could pay it back in the future. At most, she would pay it back for a few more years. She would not go back on her word. She would definitely pay it back before the child turned 5. Just like that, with a car parked in front of her, Xia Qian planned her life for the next 10 years. She even planned it with relish. While she was in a daze, the man's cheerful voice sounded in her ear. "Miss Xia, I'll give you a ride. Get in the car." Xia Qian suddenly came back to her senses. When she saw Shinkai smiling at her from the car, she shivered and took a step back. "Oh, it's not on the way. Sorry to trouble you, Mr. Shin." Xia Qian's intuition told her that Shinkai was not easy to deal with. Seeing that his smile was not innocent at all, she knew that he was definitely a bad person. She did not dare to offend the government. Jiang Zhao could make it impossible for her to get a driver's license in her lifetime. Would Shinkai make it impossible for her to get a driver's license in her next lifetime because of her rude words at night? The last person she should have known in her life was Yi Er. If she did not know Yi Er, she would not have frightened Jiang Zhao to the point of being afraid of a rope that was not a snake just because he took her in a car. If she was not frightened by Jiang Zhao, she would not have been so afraid of a prosecutor's office. Shen Kai held the steering wheel with one hand and rested the other on the window. His index finger was curled and tapped on the window occasionally. When he shrugged, he raised his eyebrows and smiled mischievously. Xia Qian thought, look, this is the rotten member of the parents' team. Of course, he would be right after checking. She had never seen such a prosecutor. Therefore, when Shen Kai's next sentence came out, it made her go crazy. It's on the way. I feel that any place in High City is on the way. You want to go somewhere else? Do you want me to send you to the train station or the airport? Xia Qian smiled, but it was not very natural. She zipped up her khaki cotton jacket and rubbed her hands. Actually, Mr. Shin, you don't have to be so gentlemanly. I can take a taxi. Is that so? I don't have to be a gentleman. Yeah, you don't have to. You don't have to care about me. You can go first. Actually, it was not that she did not want to save money. If Yi Er was here, she would definitely save on the travel expenses today. However, Yi Er was not here, so she had no choice. As soon as she finished speaking, Shen Kai opened the door and got out of the car. After getting out of the car, he did not close the door of the driver's seat. Instead, he grabbed the clothes behind Xia Qian's back and lifted them up. Shen Kai was tall. Xia Qian originally thought that with Jiang Zhao, Qin Fian, Zhuang Yichen, Zhua Hao, and Shen Kai, they could form a modeling team. They would definitely be popular. However, she was not tall, only about 1.6 meters. She was not even as tall as Yi Er. She also did not like to wear high heels. When Shen Kai grabbed the clothes behind her back, she felt like she was being lifted up. She was like a little chick being lifted up. Hey, what are you doing? Let go of me. This lift made her chest feel uncomfortable. God, she would have to stop developing for many days again. It was too cruel. I'm not a gentleman anymore, girl. After saying that, Shen Kai opened the back door and threw Xia Qian in. You'd better not run outside. Otherwise. He paused. You know that I'm not a gentleman anymore. When he repeated this sentence, Xia Qian took a deep breath. Shen Kai slammed the back door and slowly returned to his seat. He started driving. Train station or airport? Crematorium. Xia Qian said angrily. Welfare, Songshu 566. Chapter 560. Okay. Shen Kai's car drove onto the main road. As he drove, he began to tell ghost stories with great interest. When he told the story, he used the tone of a good man who respected women. Miss Xia, do you know that the crematorium in High City used to be at Mount Numinous? Xia Qian was a little dumb. When she was dumb, she felt that she was very brave. The car was not bad, just a little better than hers. I don't know. He held the steering wheel with ease and turned off the FM radio in the car. The talk show was in high spirits. When Shen Kai spoke, he paused from time to time, which had an effect of increasing suspense. It unconsciously made people tense up and their hair stand on end. Because it rained once, High City was haunted. It was on the main road that we are on now. After 12 o'clock, a child saw that the road was densely packed with people. Shen Kai glanced at the rearview mirror and saw Li Hua's face in the back seat. She swallowed her saliva and continued, but none of the drivers saw that scene. If there were children in the car, they would have been so scared that they would have screamed, "Someone's been hit. There's a car crash." A lot of people were sent flying. The adults thought that he was talking nonsense and got out of the car. The cars in front also stopped and children got out of the car. All the children began to cry, saying that a lot of people were coming and there was blood everywhere. Xia Qian grabbed the pillar under Shinkai's seat. Okay, let's not talk about it. Let's go another way. Aren't you going to the crematorium? This road leads to the crematorium. That night, a lot of children saw people who adults couldn't see walking towards Mount Numinous. No, Mr. Shin, I want to go back to the university town. I don't want to go to the crematorium. Ha! Shinkai tapped the steering wheel slowly, smiling bitterly. Even the words that came out of his mouth were bitter. I'm in a difficult position now. Xia Qian wished that she could jump out of the car right now, because as long as she sat in the car, she could feel that there was a child sitting in front of her. This child kept yelling, "There are so many people in front, so many people, 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 crashed into people, so many people, so many people. To Spirit Mountain, 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 Spirit Endure. After shivering for a moment, he asked, "Why is it so difficult?" Shinkai sighed softly. The car moved forward at a moderate speed. Before you got on the car, you told me that I don't need to be a gentleman. Now I'm following your wishes. Or do I not want to listen to you? If I listened to you, I would be a gentleman. But if I disobeyed your request before you got on the car, I was still not a gentleman. If I don't listen to you, I won't be a gentleman. But if I fulfill your wish before you get on the train, I'll be a gentleman again. This really puts me in a dilemma. It's very difficult to be a person. Damn you. Xia Qian didn't curse out loud. This was clearly a very simple question. Why did it become a question of whether the chicken or the egg came first when it came out of his mouth? Shinkai looked at the twitching expression of a certain someone behind him in the rearview mirror. The corners of his mouth twitched, and he smiled evilly. The court suit looked like something an honest person would wear. But when he wore it, he didn't look like an honest person at all. Especially when he smiled at a time like this, the clothes didn't look honest at all. Yi Er drove the car. She was a little worried that Jiang Zhao would cause trouble for her. It was so late at night, but he didn't react at all. He didn't lose his temper at all. She felt that Jiang Zhao's temper couldn't be like this because Jiang Zhao was a state official and she was a commoner. In order to not let the atmosphere cool down and burn her, Yi Er kept trying to find a topic to talk about. Hubby, how can a person like Shinkai sneak into the procuratorate? One look and you can tell that he's not a good person. Jiang Zhao's first reaction when he turned around was, "Did Shinkai provoke you?" Ah. Yi Er seemed to have been hit by a stick. I don't think he looked at you much at night. What's wrong? Did he provoke you? Jiang Zhao's tone was a little harsh. Shinkai even praised her for being beautiful. Could it be that the hooligan molested her with his eyes? How dare he? What was going on recently? He had only been out for a few days, but he had attracted so many admirers. No, no. Yi-er thought to herself that she was looking for trouble when she had nothing to do. Her husband was now in a sensitive period. Mentioning men was provoking her. I think he looks very cunning. He doesn't look like a gentleman like you. Honey, do you have to add the word like in front of a gentleman? It wouldn't be good if I didn't add it, right? Yi-er felt that if she didn't add the word like, she would be letting herself and the people who had been tricked by Jiang Zhao. Good. Jiang Zhao laughed continuously. Yi-er relaxed a little. Since he was laughing so happily, he shouldn't cause trouble for her tonight, right? Was today's matter considered over? Why didn't he hide it? Isn't he afraid that people will say that he's a hooligan? Him. What's there to hide in front of me? It's not like I've known him for the first time. Jiang Zhao raised his hands and rested them on the back of his head. His eyes were looking at the complicated night lights in front of him. He was originally a hooligan from a wealthy family since he was young. He caused trouble everywhere. His father forced him to study law in order to instill the idea that hitting people is against the law in him. He can be considered the representative of a prodigal son turning over a new leaf in our group. God! Isn't this a scourge on society? No wonder Shin Kai didn't avoid the taboo when he spoke. He was a little arrogant. It turned out that it was a habit from when he was young. What scourge on society? Our group is all grown up. Who still causes trouble everywhere like when we were young? It's not like we're brainless people for the rest of our lives. Jiang Zhao glanced at the woman who kept talking and was about to say something after she finished her sentence. He sneered, Yi-er, don't you think you owe me an explanation for the 15 yuan haircut today? Yi-er's hands tightened on the steering wheel. She swallowed her saliva. Give me an explanation. You're not Chiu-ju. You have grievances to complain about. Why do you need an explanation? But she didn't dare to talk back to Jiang Zhao. Her eyes darted around. She turned the steering wheel to the right and stepped on the brakes. After parking the car, her nose twitched and the corners of her mouth collapsed. She leaned over the steering wheel and began to sob. I was scared to death by him today. I was scared to death. I was afraid of embarrassing myself with Xia Qian around. I didn't even dare to say that I was scared. Sob. Jiang Zhao raised his head. Jiang Zhao swore to himself that he would never pay attention to Yi-er's petty tricks again. He saw it clearly. It was a petty trick. That's enough. Jiang Zhao couldn't keep a straight face at this time. His voice was deliberately cold. She probably missed the best time to quarrel. Many things happened in between, so she didn't have a chance to put the flint paper on the flint. That's why she ended up like this. Looking at her fake crying face, he knew he couldn't get angry. Yi-er refused to look up. Once she did, he knew she was faking it. I don't want to go to school tomorrow. I don't want to go. I want to learn how to dance. Jiang Zhao sneered disdainfully. You can cause so much trouble with a pile of papers. If you learn how to dance all day long, what trouble will you cause? Jiang Zhao decided not to fall for Yi-er's tricks. She was getting more and more wild. She had gotten her way once or twice, but she used this method every time. Did she really think it would work? If you cry again, I'll throw you out of the car. Yi-er leaned on the steering wheel and stopped crying. What did he mean? Did he hate her? In the past, when she threw tantrums, he would still coax her. Be good, be good. Now, he actually said he would throw her out of the car. She was his legal wife. Their marriage certificate was stamped with a steel seal. How dare he say he would throw her out of the car? Didn't he see who was sitting in the driver's seat? Who was the boss? So what if he was tall? So what if he was handsome? So what if his father was rich? So what if his father was powerful? So what if he had status, and votes? Humph. Yi Er raised her head. Her eyes were dry. She stared at Jiang Zhao. Jiang Zhao wanted to laugh, but he only made a tisk sound. She was indeed faking it. Yi Er felt that she was at an age where loyalty was high. How could she be so cowardly? When the tisk sound came from Jiang Zhao's mouth, Yi Er's heart was burning with anger. She wanted to win a round for herself. Therefore, before Jiang Zhao could finish his sentence, "Little fox, all you know is to act all day long," he had not said it out loud. The car was followed by a vroom of the accelerator. "You're cold." It shot out like a bolt from a bow. Although Yi Er had more experience than her peers and appeared to be more mature, she was at an age where she was full of youthful energy. It was inevitable that she would feel uneasy. Moreover, she was not as afraid of Jiang Zhao as before. That was why she was so bold right now. Jiang Zhao was sitting in the car when he suddenly felt a push from behind. His body moved back and forth rapidly as if he had hit a wall. He immediately reached out to grab the handle of the car roof. "Yunyi, what are you doing?" "Humph, what am I doing? If you don't admit your mistake today, I won't let you off." "Why would I admit my mistake? Don't you know what you did wrong?" Yi Er said angrily. She stepped on the accelerator and released it at times. Jiang Zhao had drunk some wine that night. Sitting in the car now, he felt extremely uncomfortable being pushed and pulled by someone. Yi Er's car was like a nimble snake, shuttling through one road after another. In order to avoid or prevent a rear-end collision, Yi Er quickly braked and sped up. She did not care about the feelings of the beautiful man sitting beside her. The car was headed towards the seaside bridge. "Yunyi, are you crazy? Do you have to drive like this in the city?" "I like to drive like this." "What can you do about it? Didn't you say it already? What's yours is mine. Then I have a share in this car. Besides, I'm the one driving now. I can drive however I want. Mind your own business." Jiang Zhao felt that something was wrong. Did the little fox become a little female leopard? He admitted his mistake. What mistake did he make? Shouldn't he be the one to admit his mistake today? "You're asking me to admit my mistake. I haven't asked you to admit your mistake yet. If it weren't for your indecent behavior outside all day long, would you have provoked that 250? If I can provoke them, it means that I'm charming." "What? You're not convinced?" Yi Er was going all out. She did not care anymore. He was going to throw her out of the car. She was going to make him roll out of the car today. Did he really want to pull out all her claws and teeth? Forget it for the sake of it. Did he dare to do it for real? If he really dared to be so ruthless, she would definitely not let him off easily. Jiang Zhao immediately became spirited, and the smell of alcohol wafted up. Yo! Did he hear wrongly? Did he hear wrongly? What did this little wench just say? She said that 250 provoked her because she was charming. What? She still thought that this was a good thing. An amazing good thing. Awesome novel, Hongcha 866. Chapter 561. Today it was 250, tomorrow it would be 350, and the day after tomorrow it would be 450. Even washing, cutting, and drying would develop into blow-drying and dyeing. Charm. Little wench, you still dare to say that today's matter is due to your charm. What? Of course, someone likes you when you go to a new place. You must be envious and jealous, right? You don't take me seriously, but others see me as rare. Who do you think you are? So what? You don't like me, but there are many people who like me. Hey! Jiang Zhao swallowed his saliva. Little wench, was she deliberately angering him? Yun Yi. Stop the car and pull over. You have to make it clear to me today. If you don't, you're not allowed to go back. No way. I won't stop. If you have the guts, jump out of the car if you have the guts. Yi Er drove the car onto the seaside bridge. It was winter now, so she couldn't roll down the car window to feel the cool breeze on the river like in summer. However, even if it was summer now, she wasn't in the mood. Logically speaking, Yi Er shouldn't have quarreled with Jiang Zhao at this time. After all, Jiang Zhao had drunk some baijiu at night and instinctively minded the fact that a man was close to her. At this time, he was easily provoked by her, and his anger soared to the sky. There was no way to stop him. He suddenly thought of his passion going down the drain. He then thought of how she was heartless and only knew how to use him. He then thought of how he was sincerely looking out for her good. All of a sudden, he felt all kinds of unbalanced. Whether it was resentment, jealousy, or anger, with a thwa sound, the flames of anger were pulled up high. What? You're asking me to jump out of the car? Yun Yi, are you F***king trying to murder your husband? You can't wait for me to die. Isn't that right? Humph. Yi Er thought to herself. You still want to throw me out of the car? If you have the guts, then jump. Why are you asking so many questions? Good on you, Yun Yi. You little fox grew up eating Red Crane's crown. You're so poisonous. Yi Er deliberately overtook and gave way to the car from time to time. The tempo of the speed change became faster and faster, especially when she saw Jiang Zhao frowning because of the uneven speed of the car. He looked like he was about to throw up. She felt even better. She no longer remembered that she should be concerned about her husband's health. At this moment, she only wanted to take revenge. She wanted to take revenge on him for casually saying that he would abandon her. On the seaside bridge, there was not much traffic, but the speed was very fast. After crossing the bridge and driving for a few more kilometers, they would be out of Sea City. Yi Er was wild. The rebellious nature that she had been hiding in her bones for a long time was completely unleashed tonight. She was fearless, unwelcoming, and unfathomable. What she had was the youthful vigor of an eye for an eye. She was about to turn 20 years old. In the season of winter, she should burn all of her personality until it was burning red. Only then would she be satisfied. On the speedometer on the highway, the needle on the speedometer went up by a tick. Jiang Zhao was furious. Yun Yi, slow down. No reduction. Reduce. No reduction. Apologize to me. If you apologize to me, I'll reduce. Jiang Zhao did not know where he had gone wrong. His mind was in a mess because of the love affair between a man and a woman. At this moment, they were like two stones in a cesspool. Both smelly and hard. Both of them were smelly and hard. Neither of them was willing to lower their heads. Although the man's voice was unusually furious, he still maintained his male chauvinism. His head was tilted up, and the veins on his forehead were throbbing. The words that came out of his mouth were like steel beams falling on a person, heavy and painful. Fine. If you have the guts, drive to 180. At this point, there are trailers everywhere. If you crash into them and die, everything will be over. Yun Yi, if you have the guts, then step on the gas pedal to the limit. Push it above 180, push it to 200. If you see any trailers, then crash into them. If you don't crash into them, you're a coward. Jiang Zhao had drunk, but Yi Er did not. When Yi Er provoked Jiang Zhao, he could make Jiang Zhao more and more confused, but Jiang Zhao's sword was fast enough and vicious enough to kill in one strike. He did not talk to you about whose fault it was. He also did not talk to you about what was wrong with you. He just told you to crash into them. If you see any cars, then crash into them. If you don't crash into them, then you're a coward. 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 Humph, if you crash into them, even if you're not a coward, you'll only become a pile of meat. Yi Er, who was sober, slowly eased off the gas pedal. Coincidentally, there was a highway exit. He drove down the road, past the toll booth, and turned into Yang County. Yang County. She knew this place. The last time Jiang Zhao went on a business trip to Yang County, she had found out about it and followed him here. The car stopped by the roadside. Jiang Zhao rolled down the car window, but the wind did not help. He opened the car door, got out of the car, and squatted by the roadside to vomit. Yi Er's sense of revenge slowly disappeared. After the two of them had a hysterical argument, she felt guilty when she saw Jiang Zhao's pale face vomiting after getting out of the car. She walked over and squatted down to pat his back. She did not wear a thick jacket. She did not expect to stay outside so late at night. She did not expect the temperature to drop at night, so she felt a little cold. Jiang Zhao did not wear much either. He wore the same clothes he wore to work in the day. He wore a shirt and a suit with a sweater in the middle. As the cold wind blew, he felt even dizzier. Jiang Zhao felt like his stomach was about to flip out from Yi Er's driving skills. When Yi Er reached out to touch his back, he slapped her hand away in annoyance. Yi Er was not too happy either. However, even though she was unhappy, she could not really leave him alone. She could not be like him, who casually said that he wanted to throw her out of the car. She took a few pieces of tissue from the car and bent down again. She tilted her head to look for his face. When she found his face, she stretched the tissue over and wiped the stain from the corner of his mouth. The man's features were well defined. His handsome brows were tightly knitted, expressing his poor condition. Jiang Zhao looked at Yi Er coldly from the corner of his eyes. The more he looked, the angrier he got. She actually dared to say that there were many people who liked her. Her hair was tied into a knot on the top of her head. She was just a little girl. She had clearly said that she would be with him. She had never worn colors like red or green. Now, she was dressed up so young. Who was she trying to impress? Making him vomit. Fine, she did it on purpose. Did she think that he did not know? Come here. Jiang Zhao said softly. At this moment, the night wind started to blow. Yi Er was so cold that she was shivering. This was the road into Yang County. They were just 1 kilometer away from the city. However, it was the suburbs after all. This place felt a little desolate. Yi Er squatted down and moved closer to Jiang Zhao. She did not act like a little pug and shamelessly call him hubby like in the past. She just moved closer. Jiang Zhao took a deep breath. His handsome face was expressionless. Come closer. Yi Er pouted. She moved closer. She felt that since she had improved, she did not wag her tail and beg for pity. So what if she moved closer? What was there to be afraid of? The back of Yi Er's head was held. She was shocked. She looked at the man's eyes that were originally cold but were now unusually bright. She suddenly realized that this was not good. She wanted to break free and run. The man held the back of her head with one hand and her waist with the other. When he stood up, he pulled her up with him and pushed the car over. The door of the front passenger seat was not closed. The woman was controlled by his hand and pressed against the seat. Women who learned to dance were indeed different. Look at how soft her waist was. It was not strenuous for him to press her down. Yi-er looked at the man's mouth coming closer. She suddenly remembered that he had vomited earlier. Oh God, he had vomited. Her little head dodged left and right, but the undisciplined hand behind her head was too unruly and forcefully held her down. She could only clench her teeth and shut her lips tightly. She didn't even dare to scold anyone now. A crow would throw a piece of meat to a fox when it opened its mouth. Now that she opened her mouth, the fox would throw some minced meat to her to eat. It was even meat that had been digested in her stomach. It was not just meat. It was quite sumptuous. There was wine, meat, and even vegetables. Jiang Zhao was capable of doing this. She knew that the last time he was hospitalized, that meal was because he said that she disliked him and forced him to eat the soup in his mouth. Later on, if Papa did not come, he would definitely force her to eat the meat that he had chewed. When did this person change in his previous life? Could it be that he had a childhood shadow? Or did he meet with a huge setback in his life? Otherwise, how could he be so abnormal? There was a smell in her nose. That smell made her want to vomit. No matter how much she liked him, she did not like him kissing her after vomiting. But no matter how much she dodged, his mouth would still shamelessly come and eat her mouth. Thinking of that day when Fei Yan was forcefully kissed by Xia Qian. Oh God, how did Fei Yan not vomit? How could Fei Yan not vomit? Wasn't those minced meat disgusting? Jiang Zhao's tongue forcefully stuck out Yi-er's mouth. He did not believe it. She made him vomit, so it was natural for her to be taught a lesson. Let's see if she would dare to deliberately step on the brakes and the accelerator again next time. She could mess around, but not this kind of thing. But she could only mess around with him, like now, mess around. Yi-er knew that she could no longer hold it in, especially when Jiang Zhao's mouth that had just vomited a stomach full of filth was already biting her mouth. She could no longer hold it in. Her skin was thick, but her stomach was thin, very thin. Just a slight movement and it would cause a revolution for her. Ugh, she hiccuped. Hold on a little longer, hold on a little longer. The man's tongue had successfully reached her mouth, but at this time, she did not think of biting off his tongue. She still wanted to live with him. What if she bit off his tongue and became a mute? What would she do? Taking a step back, if she did not become a mute, what would she do if she became a big tongue? In the future, when she called Yun Yi, she would call him Luan Yi Lu. When she called Gugu, she would call him Duo Duo. When she called Papa, she would call him Dada. She was finished. How could she still be the deputy mayor? Once she stepped down, her family would not be settled. What should she do? No. She could not do that. Yi-er realized that she was a person who knew what was right and wrong. She knew how to analyze the situation. But when she finished analyzing the situation, she realized that the man's tongue had already entered her mouth. It was as if he had never kissed her before. How good would it be if he had brushed his teeth before? Ugh, she hiccuped again. She could not hold on any longer. Especially when she thought about her fate, which was completely different from Wu Ye's, the thin-skinned Mr. Stomach finally wanted to rebel. Yi-er had thought that no matter what, she would not admit defeat today. She must return the favor. So, she used all her strength to grab the back of Jiang Zhao's head. She hiccuped for the third time. Ugh, when she hiccuped for the third time, Jiang Zhao suddenly felt something warm in his mouth. A lot of acidic liquid rushed into his mouth. Xia Qian could not argue with Shen Kai. But she had ways to deal with Qin Fian. She knew that Qin Fian was afraid that she would molest him. This was a fatal weakness. So, if she could not win against him, she would just stick to him and kiss him. He would definitely lose. Shen Kai was different. He was still fine when they were eating. But now, after they left Haiyu restaurant and got into the car, he was even more like a hooligan. If you dare to touch and kiss a hooligan like him, you can try it. Although her chest was not full. Fine, it was a little flat. Fu Li, Xinwu 799. Chapter 562. Although her chest was a bit flat, but for an outstanding girl like her, it was inevitable that men would treat her differently. If this hooligan were to take advantage of the situation, then she would really be careless and lose the Jingzhou. Xia Qian felt that she was pitiful. Even though she had dated a boyfriend in the past, she still knew a little about men. The men she knew were from books and classmates. The male students in her class were a little worried that she would fall in love with them and then become a bisexual. So, they tried to avoid her as much as possible. How sad and bitter was that? Shen Yuan, are you going to argue until dawn? Xia Qian obviously had no way to fight back. What could she do? If someone was put in a difficult position because of a question, it would be hard to tell whether the chicken or the egg came first. If they were to write a proof question, they could at least trace it back to an unknown era. Then, they would continue to argue until everyone was in their coffins, and there would still be two factions. Is there a need to argue until dawn? Keep driving and we'll reach Mount Lingshan. I'll come back after sending you to the crematorium. So you're saying that you're going to send me to the crematorium and not to send me back to school? Xia Qian felt that she should calm down at this time. This grandson wanted to argue with her. What did she learn? Media. The future top 10 best host, a rising star, sat in such a broken Audi and couldn't even win against a hooligan driving a broken Audi. How could she face the millions of viewers? How could she face the fans who had always supported her to success? It's okay. Let's go. I heard that there's nothing to be afraid of in places with strong yang energy. Shen Yuan, you're a man full of yang energy sitting in a car. What's there to be afraid of? You're not a person who's neither a man nor a woman. Even ghosts would be afraid of you. So after thinking about it, there's nothing to be afraid of. Nothing to be afraid of. She could only lie to the ghost sisters and brothers on this road. In fact, she was scared to death. Shen Kai made a tisk sound. Strange, this girl was not so stupid now. Was she really pretending? I'm thirsty. I want to drink water. Xia Qian felt that she should stop the car and find a shop to buy a bottle of water. Then, she could see if there were any children around and let the children see if the road was full of people. Shen Kai said, "Turn your hand over. There's water on the shelf behind." Xia Qian lowered her head. I'm hungry. There are biscuits and bread on the shelf. Forget it, you drive. I'm going to take a nap. Xia Qian felt that she had thrown caution to the wind. She could only admit that she was unlucky to have met such a powerful young master. If he was going to mess with her no matter what and drag her to Mount Lingshan, then she could only make an appointment with the ghosts tonight. She could do an interview with them and ask them how their lives were like in the netherworld. She could get straight to the point and ask, "Brother Ghost, are you happy?" Then, Saturday. Did the King of Hell owe them their wages? Of their working hours? How much was the salary during the holidays? After all, the living standards in the mortal world had improved. The trend of aging was becoming more obvious. Business in the netherworld might not be so good. But now, medical accidents, car accidents, murder, drug abuse, eating oil, drinking a bottle of milk, and drinking water could all be fatal. Therefore, business in the underworld could also be very good. Xia Qian felt that the main content of the interview tonight should revolve around the livelihood of the people. After all, it was good that everyone was good. Shen Kai looked at the rearview mirror. She really fell asleep. When he mentioned it just now, she was so scared and clutched the thin pillar behind his head. Wasn't this speed of calmness a little too fast? How was her brain made? God! Her breathing was even. Just how heartless was she to be like this? Jiang Zhao and Yi Er squatted by the roadside. They were vomiting, but they still continued. How did that song go? Have you ever disgusted me? Have I ever disgusted you? Being with disgusting friends is happier than anything else. Jiang Zhao thought that he had enough stamina, but he didn't expect Yi Er to vomit everything into his mouth. This bag was all wrapped up and he almost swallowed it. After the two of them finished vomiting, they went to the trunk to rinse their mouths. Yi Er didn't feel disgusted anymore. She remembered what happened last time. This time, she felt that she had to give Jiang Zhao a good psychological lesson. She raised her mouth and spat out the water in her mouth. After a few times, she said to Jiang Zhao, what do you mean? Didn't you say that I shouldn't be disgusted? Didn't you say that you were going to chew meat and vegetables and spit them into my mouth last time? Why can't you accept the food I chewed today? Are you disgusted with me? How can that be the same? After you chewed and swallowed, it's sour now. When I chewed and spit it out for you, it was fresh and not expired. Even if you can't live on, you won't have to eat expired food in the future, right? Jiang Zhao said with a face that said, that's the truth. Yi Er sighed. God, forgive me. I really can't argue with him. I can only lose. Jiang Zhao was almost sober. He slowly started to think about what happened just now. He got into the car and said, let's go find something to eat. I'm hungry. You ate so much of my expired food and you're still hungry. Ha. Jiang Zhao didn't answer. He closed his eyes and rested. As he rested, the corners of his mouth curved slightly. He was blatantly telling Yi Er that he was up to something. Yang County was located on the outskirts of Haiqing, but it was also Haiqing's harem. Many rich people in Haiqing would buy villas in Yang County to avoid the summer heat. It was really comfortable. Yang County had been developing tourism, so there were many local specialties. Of course, many of them were fake. People said in skits, the taste is very good, but it's too little. However, there were some snacks in Yang County that were advertised a lot, but the taste is really bad. Almost all the tourist cities in the country had their own antique street. It was called Imitation Antique Street and there were many snacks. Yi Er sat in front of a small square table with red lanterns hanging on the street like a festival. She looked around at the green bricks and gray tiles without much interest. She poked the glutinous rice cake in front of her with a thin skewer and looked at the barbecue in front of Jiang Zhao. She swallowed her saliva. She had chosen the glutinous rice cake herself. She had never eaten it before and wanted to try it. After trying it, she felt that it wasn't good and wanted to change. Jiang Zhao said, "Honey, you don't know how hard it is to earn money. It's shameful to waste a single cent, shameful." He knew how to be shameful. Therefore, the woman who lived off a man could only put the glutinous rice cake in front of her and poke it, drooling as she looked at her husband's barbecue. Jiang Zhao ate with relish. As he ate, he said to Yi Er, "Actually, no matter how bad this glutinous rice cake is, you chose it yourself. If you throw it away, you'll be throwing money away. So, you have to eat it. That's how you're responsible for it." But I don't want to be responsible for it. I want to be responsible for the barbecue in front of you, Yi Er said with a pout. Yun Yi, you're a classic example of eating what's in the bowl but looking at what's in the pot. Xia Qian is right. Jiang Zhao looked very serious, but his eyes were a little sly. Both of them were tall. When they sat at the stall to eat barbecue, they had to bend down. Otherwise, it would be easy for the cumin to fall on their clothes. Yi Er looked up at Jiang Zhao. At that time, she thought that he didn't hear her. She didn't expect him to hear her. Xia Qian, this rascal, really wanted to kill her. She cursed that rascal to be scared to death by a ghost. Since when did I eat from the pot but look at the bowl? Hubby, Xia Qian is slandering me. Yi Er finally gave in. Whenever she called him hubby, she either gave in or had other motives. At least most of the time. Jiang Zhao ordered another bottle of herbal tea. He never liked to eat food with strong flavors. It wasn't because it tasted bad. In the end, it was because he was vain and was afraid of getting pimples. He wouldn't tell Yi Er this reason. It was okay to eat it occasionally. It was fine to drink some herbal tea to relieve the heat. He took the herbal tea from the stall owner and rummaged through Yi Er's bag for a pack of tissues. He took out a piece of tissue and wiped the noodles for a while. Then, he began the formal ideological education lesson for tonight. Yun Yi, you said that you didn't eat from the bowl but look at the pot. I promise I didn't. Then what did you say in the car just now? You said that there are many people out there who want you. Jiang Zhao had sobered up at this time. He was very gentlemanly and wasn't sulking. He smiled and spoke patiently. However, Yi Er felt that there was a needle hidden in cotton. It was very insidious. After taking a sip of the herbal tea, Jiang Zhao continued to eat the barbecue as if nothing had happened. He left Yi Er alone to poke the glutinous rice cake even more. She stuttered and didn't know how to explain the situation to Jiang Zhao. She did say something like that. She didn't do anything wrong, right? This is not the same as what you said at the beginning. This is not eating from the bowl but looking at the pot. I don't accept this kind of slander. Slander. Jiang Zhao was eating the barbecue, but his movements were very elegant. He put the bamboo skewer horizontally to the side of his mouth and bit off a piece of meat. He took the skewer away and chewed the meat. However, the way he chewed was so good that even young girls would turn around to look. The tourist street was a little better. There were few locals. Not many locals would go to Fanggu Street to eat barbecue. It was expensive and might not be as delicious as the stalls outside the neighborhood. Then do you dare to say that you didn't say those words? I said it. You think that there are people out there who want you. You are very proud, you are very impressive, and you are very proud. You want to spread this kind of arrogance, and finally achieve the effect of arrogance. Am I right? No. No. Why did you ask me so arrogantly if I am convinced? Jiang Zhao was still smiling. He felt that he couldn't use violence on this little wife for the time being. He had to be gentler. Therefore, when he smiled, his eyes were really gentle. Wife, how do you think I am convinced? Should I compete with you to see who has more admirers outside? Yi Er was completely convinced. Could she compare with him? How many people wanted to climb into his bed? It also depended on whether he wanted it or not. Not everyone was as good as the Ouyang Yen and as elegant as the Ouyang Yen. I said those words out of anger. Words out of anger. Yes, who asked you to say that you wanted to throw me out of the car? This time, it was Jiang Zhao's turn to be stunned. He said that he wanted to throw her out of the car. When Yi Er saw Jiang Zhao's shock, she knew that she had hit the snake's body. She wasn't too sure. I was just angry at that time. You were fine, but you actually said that you wanted to throw me out of the car. I am your wife. If you throw me out of the car, where do you want me to go? Ad Shinwu 799. Chapter 563. Yi Er's eyes reddened as she spoke. She lowered her head and continued to poke the glutinous rice cake. You drank, and I kept asking you how you were. I was afraid that you would be upset, so I kept talking to you. In the end, you treated me like this. You threw me away just because you were unhappy. I'm not a stray cat. I have a marriage certificate. Yi Er's voice became softer and softer, like a mosquito. At this time, she was not pretending to be pitiful. She really felt that she was quite pitiful. The more she was like this, the more unwilling she was to raise her head and let Jiang Zhao look into her eyes. When she was pretending, she could not wait for him to see her misery. Now, she was afraid that he would think that she was in a sorry state. A stainless steel plate wrapped in a food bag was pushed in front of her. The pork ribs are not bad. Have some. It's a pity to throw away the things you bought. Let me eat the glutinous rice cake. The man's voice was surprisingly gentle. Yi Er's nose twitched. She raised her head and happened to see her husband's handsome eyebrows and starry eyes. When he smiled, his eyes were filled with gentle moonlight. He did not apologize to her, nor did he say sorry. However, his actions had already said everything. Oh, I'm afraid you'll gain weight. It's better not to eat it. I'll buy you millet porridge later. It's lighter. The man dragged the stainless steel plate back and turned to the boss. Bill. Jiang Zhao. You bastard. Yi Er felt that her nose was sore for nothing. It was really for nothing. It was not worth it at all. Yi Er's scolding was reasonable because the man had just told her that it was shameful to waste a single cent. However, he threw the unfinished barbecue into the trash can beside him. He would not let her eat it even if he threw it into the trash can. This bastard. Yi Er kept sulking with Jiang Zhao. It was already late at night, especially in winter. There were fewer and fewer people outside. There were not many people. The traffic police had also gotten off work at this time. Jiang Zhao's smell of alcohol dissipated, so he drove himself and let Yi Er sit beside him. Yi Er was angry. She sat in the back and did not sit in the same row as Jiang Zhao. The car stopped at the Sheraton Hotel. Jiang Zhao got out of the car, opened Yi Er's door, and pulled her out. As soon as they entered the hotel, Yi Er lowered his head. This was the place where she had taken off his clothes and taken photos of him. Jiang Zhao took the room card and held Yi Er's hand as they walked towards the elevator. Tonight, we'll stay in the room where we had sex last time. Yi Er had been sulking at first, but now he did not dare to be angry anymore. He laughed dryly and said, "You're so vengeful." Not only that. I am the type to seek revenge for the smallest grievance. The elevator door opened with a ding sound. Jiang Zhao pulled Yi Er into the elevator and pressed 17 again. Yi Er frowned. The 17th floor of the Sheraton Hotel was not a guest room. At that time, in order to follow him, she had investigated the hotel he was staying at. The elevator door opened again, and when they came out, they found that they were in the F&B department. Yi Er was very satisfied as he ate the Cantonese supper in front of him. Yi Er immediately put aside their previous grudges and expressed goodwill to Jiang Zhao. Jiang Zhao could only sigh and shake his head. There was nothing he could do about her. Her little face was like the weather in March, changing at will. Wind came and rain came, and then after a while, it would be fine and sunny again. There was no pattern to it at all. He took a tissue and wiped the sauce on the corner of her mouth. Eat slowly. Why are you always like this? You should eat properly. When he spoke, he did not sound like he was reprimanding her at all. Instead, it sounded like he was indulging her. Yi picked up a piece of soft pork rib and threw it into her mouth. She quickly separated the meat from the bone and spat out the bone on the side plate in front of her. She wrinkled her nose and said, "I'm so hungry." You kept eating, but I didn't eat at all. At that moment, a man appeared at the entrance of the restaurant. He was wearing a large brimmed hat that covered most of his face. He held a camera in his hand and pointed it at the seemingly loving couple. He quickly pressed the button to take photos. 1 photo, 2 photos, 3 photos, asterisk asterisk asterisk. Qin Fian had been eyeing this plot of land for a long time. Even though he had given up on the competition due to the official report from the relevant department, it did not mean that he did not care about this plot of land. Even if he did not care, the shareholders would care about it. When he saw that the most successful bidder was Shi Empire's shares, Qin Fian sat in his office chair and did not speak for a long time. It was already past midnight. Ever since his secretary delivered this document to him, he had not cracked a joke. The secretary also did not dare call him handsome anymore. The glasses that perched on his nose had been tossed onto the table. The coldness that shone out from his beautiful phoenix eyes was rather eerie. The Shi family was interested in building a coating factory. That kind of business was not profitable, and the workers would be punished for doing toxic work. Did the Shi family look like someone who would do such a low-end business? The Shi family really had run out of ways to make money. They needed to build a factory and make a profit of a few million a year or even less. A few million. This joke was not funny at all. The price of this piece of land was now like a cabbage. A cabbage, and a rotten cabbage at that. Buying a rotten cabbage at a time when land prices were as high as gold. The reason Qin Fian could not bring himself to laugh was because he felt like he had been tricked. The years he had been in business had been too smooth. The Qin family's influence in Sea City was too big. Furthermore, he had his uncle and cousin, and he was a careful and courageous person. It was rare for him to suffer such a loss. Not only had he been made a fool of, but he had also been made a fool of. It was not surprising that the Shi family did not know about his involvement in the plot of land acquisition. However, if the Shi family really did bribe the experts and related departments to falsify the geological report, what did that mean? The Shi family's influence was no longer limited to the business world. It had only been 2 years in Sea City, but their influence had already reached into the business world. This was a dangerous signal. Qin Fian reminded himself that he had to stay calm and not jump to conclusions. He propped himself up on the table and pressed the line of his secretary, who was also working overtime with him. "Beauty, come in for a moment." After a while, the secretary walked in. She stood in place and twisted her waist seductively. "Handsome, what can I do for you?" He put on his glasses with a smile. The image of a handsome and refined man came alive. "Beauty, you were the one who brought me the newspaper about the water quality of the plot of land 326, have you verified its authenticity?" "I thought." The secretary could not move her waist anymore, and she could not smile anymore. When the boss spoke with a cold smile, it meant that the problem was very serious. I thought that the information released by the authoritative department was trustworthy." "Trustworthy?" Qin Fian sighed. "Forget it, it's pointless to talk about this now. There won't be a next time." Seeing the secretary nod hurriedly, Qin Fian added, "Now go and verify the Shi family's connections. Do not leak this information." Yi drank a mouthful of soup and couldn't eat anymore. Jiang Zhao said that she shouldn't eat supper, but it was useless. Yi persisted until she couldn't eat anymore. Only then did she say, "I'm so full. I'm not eating anymore." Jiang Zhao called the waiter over to pay the bill. After the bill was paid, Jiang Zhao stood up. Yi Er walked up to him and held his arm. Jiang Zhao whispered into her ear, "You're so full. You'll need to digest it later." The man in the hat at the entrance put the card machine into his pocket and turned to leave. Yi Er was pressed down on the bed by Jiang Zhao. She placed her hands on his shoulders. "I'm so full, hubby. I'm so full. I can't do strenuous exercise after a meal. It's okay, I'll move, you won't. I didn't eat just now." Yi Er really felt like she was too full to exercise. "You should wake up after a nap." Jiang Zhao slowly pulled Yi Er's clothes. He pulled them open and tossed them off the bed one by one. "Little fox, tell me, how did you take off my clothes?" Yi Er felt like there was nothing to hide now. Yes. Xingling and I did it together. You were too heavy. I did it alone. Yi Er looked at Jiang Zhao's face that was getting more and more tense. She closed her eyes and said in one breath, "I couldn't take it off alone." You were sleeping too soundly. He was not sleeping soundly, he was probably drugged too hard. Did Xingling touch me too? Jiang Zhao frowned. He had actually been touched by two women at the same time. He was not meat placed in a stall in the market. I didn't touch you. I just accidentally touched you. Accidentally? Yes. For example, when I was unbuttoning my shirt, or when I was taking off my sleeves with one hand, or when I was trying to pose for you. I was careless. Yi Er smiled embarrassedly, trying to avoid Jiang Zhao's eyes. Then what does it mean when you're careless? The man's voice was slow and slow. When you're taking photos, she won't touch you. Do I need you to teach me? If she can reach out and touch me when I'm taking photos, she'll be awesome. Jiang Zhao thought about those photos and his eyes flashed. Then he sighed. Yun Yi, to make up for the hurt you caused to my heart. Now that he thought about it, wasn't it hurt? She had stripped him naked at that time, so why couldn't she have any other thoughts? How could she just take a photo and leave? She even helped him put on his clothes before leaving. How embarrassing was that for him? She should look at him, his body, and then fantasize about him, wait for him to slowly wake up, and then, in any case, it wasn't the first time she was so pure. She was always looking down on his charm. When Yi Er heard this, he knew it was over. There was no good outcome if the past was brought up again. Hurt. Forcing her. She was just short of succeeding in forcing her to do so. However, when such a matter was brought up, it was not pleasant. Who would be willing to be plotted against? Moreover, it was a man like him. Yi Er stuttered as she asked, How can you make it up to me? Yi Er wanted to move away. She was really uncomfortable being pressed down. Hey, let's recreate the scene. Yi Er's eyes lit up. He looked at the face in front of him with a lewd smile. Bastard! What did he say? Recreate the scene. It's so late, the woman objected. It's a holiday tomorrow. Si Jia has his father with him. We've already called him a few times. Don't worry, we can sleep in tomorrow, the man insisted. Yi Er found many excuses, but they were all rejected. I'm very full now. I really don't want to move. I'll let you move if you're full. Digest it. I'm so sleepy now. I want to sleep. But I'm not sleepy now. Husband and wife have to advance and retreat together. You can't leave me alone to dream. This sentence moved Yi Er. Hence, under the man's almost pure guidance, Yi Er began to recreate the scene. She opened the room card and entered the room sneakily. Then, she stood by the bed and bent down to take off the clothes of the man who was pretending to be a dead pig. She complained a little, "Hubby, even if the scene is recreated, you don't have to be so heavy. After all, I'm alone now. Xingling helped me at that time." Awesome novel. Songshu 566. Chapter 564. Jiang Zhao cooperated and shifted his back. He lifted it slightly and lay flat again. Yi Er was discouraged. "How can you be like this?" Jiang Zhao closed his eyes innocently and said, "Wasn't I drugged? How can I move when I'm drugged?" "You're so childish." Yi Er wanted to raise a fist as big as a sandbag and punch him. Childish? Who was the childish one to play like this? She looked at her own fist. It was a far cry from a sandbag, so she gave up on the idea of using violence. As he was taking off his clothes, Jiang Zhao narrowed his eyes and looked at Yi Er. "What did you say at the time? You had to put it in the scene." Yi Er sneered in her heart. Did she look as stupid as Xia Qian? Why would she find herself such a job? "We didn't say anything at the time." Jiang Zhao opened his eyes, but he was still lying on the bed with his clothes on. There was a rare childishness in his eyes. "You didn't say anything. That's impossible. You're too irresponsible. You're still trying to lie to me at a time like this. Can't you satisfy my curiosity? Let me tell you, Yi Er, you haven't told me clearly about the washing, cutting, and blow-drying." F***ck. Yi Er glared at Jiang Zhao. "Who said that women were the most troublesome? Who said that? Who said that? Just drag him out and chop him up." Succumbing to Jiang Zhao's threats and promises, Yi Er only remembered afterward that she wasn't much better than Xia Qian. After all, Jiang Zhao was unconscious at that time. Even if she made up stories, he wouldn't know. The most stupid person in the world was Xia Qian. She was the second most stupid person. If she claimed to be the third most stupid person, no one would dare to claim to be the second most stupid person. Hence, even though she was the second most stupid person, she had one more stupid person than Xia Qian. She was so stupid. As she unbuttoned her shirt, she started to focus on the couple scene. After unbuttoning the first button, she said in detail, "Ling Ling, help me. My hands are shaking. I can't undo it." She imagined that Jingling would pull her away the moment he came up to her. She lowered her voice slightly and pretended to be Jingling, "Go away. Look at you. Handsome man. Don't you know what handsome man is? You're so slow in taking off a handsome man's clothes, what a good-for-nothing." At the time, Yi Er heard Jingling's provocation and quickly chased Jingling away. He said stubbornly, Okay, I'll do it. He's almost 30 years old, and you're calling him a handsome man. What kind of taste do you have?" Jingling fiddled with the camera and began to press the shutter at the side. After pressing a picture, he looked at the display screen and adjusted the parameters according to the light source in the room. Men have 31 flowers. Don't you know? Yi Er undid all the buckles for Jiang Zhao and called for Jingling, "Come and help me remove it. It's too heavy. It's as heavy as a pig." Jingling put the camera at the end of the bed and worked with Yi Er, who had already climbed onto the bed to push Jiang Zhao to take off his shirt. "Pig. Have you ever seen such a strong pig? Is a pig's meat so tight? Is a pig so handsome? Handsome? He's just an old man. What's so handsome about him?" Jiang Zhao took off his shirt and left his pants on. Anyway, he could use this angle to shoot, so he wasn't afraid. Yi Er took off his clothes and threw them on the floor one by one. He crossed his arms over his chest and trembled a little. He didn't dare to stick close to Jiang Zhao's body. Zheng Ling reprimanded, Yi Er, cooperate a little. Aren't I being quite cooperative? Cooperative my ass. Have you ever seen a woman cover her chest with her hands while rolling around in bed? Be more invested. You have to think about how to sleep with such a handsome man under your body. Besides, he's such a big shot. If you sleep with him, you'll have profited. I did want to sleep with him, but it's a pity that I drugged him with the wrong drug. I shouldn't have drugged him with hallucinogens. I should have drugged him with a stronger aphrodisiac. Since it's a knockout drug, then do everything you can to knock him out. Don't show any mercy. If I was the one drugged today, the possibility of a drugged rape case would be much higher. Even if I wanted to drug him now, he's lying there like this. I don't have the tools to do it. After saying that, Yi Er tugged at his and Jiang Zhao's pants and smiled helplessly. Yi Er had not finished reenacting the scene, but Jiang Zhao's eyes were closed. He was already upset. She actually said that she couldn't bring herself to call him a handsome man. He called him a handsome man, and she even despised him for having no taste. Not to mention that, she even said that he looked like a pig. She even said that he was handsome my ass. She actually said that he was an old man. He was so angry. But when she simulated the scene where she took off her clothes and pressed herself against his body, and even posed in all kinds of ecstasy positions, his anger disappeared and his desire was ignited. If he didn't ignite it this time, he really wouldn't be a man. Who could stand such a nosebleed scene? The woman on top of him was half naked and pressed against him. Her hair was loose, and with every movement, her hair swept over his body. It swept over him like a flint rubbing against his body. It was so uncomfortable. When her soft chest pressed against him, it was even more uncomfortable. Yi Er's reenactment reached the point where he was pooping his pants. There was no way to continue the simulation because in the past, he was drugged and didn't have the tools to do it. Now, he had the tools ready, valiant and spirited, ready to be rescued by her from his pants at any time. When he was flipped over, his head was dizzy. Honey, what kind of man isn't an old man? As he asked, he removed the pants that Yi Er was still wearing. At this time, Yi Er finally got rid of his mind. His mind was clear. He was too crazy just now, and it was too late to save himself now. Hubby, this kind of man isn't an old man. Is that so? Then who's the one who looks like a pig? After removing Yi Er's pants, he started to remove his own pants. No, isn't Zhu Beiji the brilliant pig the trend now? You don't know that in the hearts of all the women in the country, men like Zhu Beiji are no longer popular. Tang Sanzang is even less popular. That's true. Otherwise, why would you think of doing something as interesting as drugging me with an aphrodisiac? When the man barged in, Yi Er wasn't fully prepared because he had been carefully thinking of how to avoid punishment. Jiang Zhao went through a lot of trouble and explained to Yi Er, who asked you not to drug me this time, but to drug me with an aphrodisiac. When Xia Qian woke up, the sky was already bright. She rubbed her eyes and sat up. Her entire back and neck were extremely uncomfortable. She stretched, yawned, and twisted her neck vigorously. As expected, you're not a lady. Shen Kai looked at the rearview mirror and said with disdain. Xia Qian didn't grow up in a rich family. In her opinion, she didn't need to care about other people's comfort. She could stretch without caring about her image as soon as she woke up. If she was on a big and soft bed, she would have to kick her legs to feel comfortable. She could yawn with her mouth wide open, and she could twist her neck around as if she wanted to fight with someone one-on-one. However, these actions were not something the daughters of wealthy families would do. They were reserved and knew etiquette. Even when they yawned, the sound was very soft. They gently opened their mouths, covered their mouths with their small hands, and let out a soft heh. Even if they stretched, they would not make it seem like they were going to war. But Shinkai didn't take those rules seriously since he was young. He was attracted to gangsters and wanted to be free and unrestrained. Perhaps it was because his friends were more loyal and had strong habits in the underworld, so he liked a woman like Ouyang Yen. He felt that she was not bad, completely different from his group of friends. At this moment, Xia Qian was like a very silly girl in his eyes. "You're a lady. I'm not stopping you." Xia Qian looked out of the window. "Ling Shan. Have the ghosts all dispersed?" Shinkai smiled. "Yes, you're too heavy. I couldn't drag you out of the car when you fell asleep last night. You can get out of the car now. I'm driving back." "What did you say? You're leaving me alone on the mountain? What about tonight?" When Shinkai smiled, the corners of his mouth were slanted, and he didn't hide his naughtiness. "Then beg me. If you beg me, I'll take you down the mountain. I beg you." Xia Qian leaned her upper body in the front seat and leaned her face in front of Shinkai. Shinkai felt bored. He thought that she was a girl with a strong personality. It was not challenging at all. He started the car. Xia Qian was sent back to school. She tried hard to remember if she had communicated with ghosts last night. She couldn't remember and went back to sleep. The weekend was supposed to be very relaxing, but Shinkai didn't. He returned to the procuratorate and called Ouyang Yen to ask her to go back to work in the institute. Ouyang Yen arrived at the office very quickly. Her work attitude had always been highly evaluated in the institute. Shinkai knew that Ouyang Yen was an ambitious woman. She was very career-oriented. When she did something, she wanted to make some achievements in that field. For example, when she was studying, she wanted to be the best among everyone. When she was working, she wanted to be the best in everything. Ouyang Yen also knew that Shinkai was a man who separated work and personal matters very clearly. It was one thing that he liked to take advantage of her through words, but he could also take advantage of her while working. He was such a person. He had been like this since university. Other people were scoundrels, but he was a hooligan. Because scoundrels only knew how to deny, but hooligans knew how to be ruthless. After pouring a cup of tea for Ouyang Yen, Shinkai raised his hand and made a "please" gesture. Ouyang Yen sat down opposite him, separated by a desk. This time, he didn't take advantage of her. Shinkai went straight to the point. "Inspector O, didn't I tell you about Yun Hongwei? Why are you still so stubborn?" Ouyang Yen tightened her grip on the cup, and the light in her beautiful eyes flickered. "What do you mean?" "That day at the Sea Moon restaurant, I thought I made it very clear to you. Several big things about Yun Hongwei are related to your family Ouyang. Is Jiang Zhao so good? You want to get in touch with the family Ouyang and also make Yun Yi and Jiang Zhao fall out? I don't understand what you're talking about." Ouyang Yen slammed the cup on the desk and stood up. "Shinkai, you don't have to worry about my affairs. Ouyang Yen, you're too selfish." Shinkai was undoubtedly disappointed. In his eyes, a woman like Ouyang Yen was synonymous with intelligence. How could she be unable to pick up and let go of emotional problems? Selfish. Ouyang Yen looked at Shinkai. Others said that there were people who were both good and evil. This man was only serious when he was scolding people. Just like now, from the moment he opened the door, he started scolding people. When the last sentence came to a conclusion, he was still scolding people. "This annoying man, I don't understand what you're talking about Yun Hongwei. You're really a nosy and annoying person. Come and see, Songshu 566. You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.